was 1985. In America, the great communicator was midway through his message. In Philadelphia, another revolutionary idea was just beginning. The sweltering summer welcomed a new event, with the crowning achievement going to one of the coolest athletes ever. For Eric Heiden, it was bicycle before icicle.
This is the biggest win I've ever had in my life.
With his initial winning effort, the foundation for a marquee event was poured. Today, some of the best riders in the world take on the country's most challenging course, as the tradition continues to ingrain.
It's become a part of the city, part of who we are, part of what we do. When you think of the sports traditions, you think of the Manioc Wall.
That was 9 o'clock this morning when about 180 of the best cyclists in the world took to the streets of Philadelphia for the 27th time. The TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships. It is a very comfortable day weather-wise, and the athletes are taking advantage of that. Guys, it took about an hour, but a break finally did develop. John Eustice.
We have a break of 5 riders who are charging down the road with everything in their hearts and soul, trying to make it to the finish line. But there's still, Todd, a long way to go in this bicycle race.
And the big objective of that breakaway is to get as much time as they can to see if they can hold on to some of that lead by the end of the race, but it's going to be a tough call.
Guys, we're obviously very early into this race, about halfway through, I guess, at this point as we come on the air. But certainly a lot of tactical things have already happened. Todd, anything surprise you so far in what we've seen?
No, it's really, we always expect an early break to get away in this race. It's just a question of how early. Took almost an hour today. 5 guys, some strong riders, but they have such a long day in the saddle, around 6 hours. It's going to be so hard to keep that advantage.
John, I mentioned it's a very comfortable day here in Philadelphia. We're not used to this. The June weather has not really kicked in yet. I have to imagine that puts a smile on just about every rider's face.
It does, especially the Europeans, because traditionally they have been disadvantaged by coming over to our hot, muggy, heavy Philadelphia heat. Now, these are more their sorts of conditions, going to make them all the more dangerous today.
All right, and with that, we welcome you in to the best seat in the house here on the Ben Franklin Parkway. I'm Greg Murphy. Thanks for being with us alongside John Eustice and Todd Gogulski. And gentlemen, we couldn't ask for anything better. The 27th time these athletes have come out here to ride the streets of Philadelphia, and we already have some interesting storylines developing. We have a breakaway, and it is significant, about 8.5 minutes. John, is that wildly significant? I mean, can these guys catch up?
It's the break. I was in a breakaway once. We were 15 minutes ahead.
Wow.
And we were caught by the end of the race. And this is the nature of cycling. A breakaway goes ahead, and behind there's almost a chess game, a game of chicken between the teams of who's going to actually take the responsibility, put their team on the front, and chase. And while they're trying to figure all that out, the break gets time. But someone's got to go catch those guys, Todd, and that's a hard job.
It's going to be a massive undertaking for some riders, and that's predominantly going to be the HTC High Road team out of the U.S., as well as the Liquigas Cannondale team out of Italy. Both of those teams have some of the favorite sprinters in the bike race, and so a lot of pressure will get heaped onto their shoulders to bring back that breakaway group.
All right, so obviously, guys, we'll keep our eye on the time and see if it starts to dwindle as the laps click on. We're about, as we said, about halfway through right now as we come on the air. When will these guys start to make a move and try to make up some time? Is it about knocking off a little bit of time each and every lap at this point?
That's what it is. The idea is to control the breakaway, not exhaust your troops at the front of the game. At the same time, make sure that breakaway is catchable. But now they're starting to eat into their time. The breakaway is starting to lose its advantage, and the teams are starting to make their move towards the front. The closer they get to the end of the race, the faster they'll begin to go, and that's pro racing.
That's exactly how they always have to do it, because if you let those guys get 15 minutes and you try and catch them in the last 2 laps,
Never happens.
No way you can do it. So you got to chip away, Murph, and do it a little bit every lap.
Every little lap, just chip away, chip away. Well, we'll certainly keep our eyes on that. Well, we have you covered here today on Comcast Sportsnet. 16 cameras on the ground and in the air to capture every moment of this race. including a couple on the motorcycles, and that is where three-time Canadian Olympic champ Eric Wahlberg is joining us now. Eric, take it away.
Thanks, Murph. I've done this race 5 times on my bike. This will be the first time I've done it on a motorcycle, so it's going to be a great experience for me here. I want to talk about some of the dark horses today. We've got Alex Candelario from Kelly Benefit Strategies, Optum Health, and Kevin Lacombe from Team Spider Tech, 2 domestic-based sprinters that featured very well 2 weeks ago in the Tour of California against some of the best pro riders in the world. And also we have Francisco Mancebo from the RealCyclist.com team, who's been winning almost every stage and every stage race domestically here all spring. So I think we could have some surprises from one of these 3 riders. So let's see how this thing plays out.
And we certainly will as we welcome you in. Live look right now at the big group, gentlemen, as they head through the park here in Philadelphia. It's early, obviously, but these guys have some work to do.
Right now on the front of the field, you see this is the peloton. Ahead of them, almost 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes is our correction, 6-man breakaway. But the field now, you see them all strung out in a single line. That means that the action is starting to heat up and that the teams are starting to realize that this breakaway is indeed dangerous, Todd, and it's time to get to work and reel them in.
And that's the work right now being done by the American team, United Healthcare. They've got a bunch of potential winners in this group, and so they want to bring back that breakaway and set their sprinters up a little bit later.
Look at them all strung out in a single line as we go up to the front, and there is our breakaway. 6 men, including a young rider, Quinn Keogh, from the team Exergy, a neat new team out of Boise, Idaho, one of these new entrepreneurial American teams that keep popping up that are the heart and soul of the sport in this continent, Todd.
Well, that's a great new squad that's really made a mark on American cycling this year, and he's obviously joined up the road by this man, Roman Killen, as well, the Ken to 5 Hour Energy Squad. He's new on that team this year. But these guys are going to work together to get as much time as they possibly can over the field.
And right there in the middle there, Glenn Chadwick from the Pure Black team out of New Zealand is a journeyman pro. He has raced on all sorts of teams all over the world. He's the one who started this breakaway, blew off from the front all by himself very early in the race. Nice rider. Look at that nice pedal action he's got. Definitely a guy who can find his way around a velodrome, it would seem to me. He's got that style. And that's a rider. It's he gets the credit for having started this breakaway. A lot of people laugh. Why is he doing that? All of a sudden, he's with 5 other guys, 10 minutes up the road. Good for you, Chad.
Yes, as we take a look at our leaders. So these are the guys that need to be caught. And it certainly will be interesting to see how quickly the peloton can close that gap as we're 3 hours and 7 minutes in to this race. I want to mention that Darlisa Hillary is also part of our coverage today. We'll check in with her in a little bit as she sets the sights and scenes in Manayunk, where certainly thousands and thousands of fans have come out once again to take it all in.
And I certainly recognize those pictures very well as the breakaway just heading up Main Street in Manayunk. The field still back on the parkway there, Kelly Drive along the water. So they're many minutes behind and several miles behind.
Guys, let's take a look at the course in and of itself. It has so much character, and so much talk is given to the Manayunk and Manayunk Wall, which we will see as the guys have to go up that 10 times throughout the afternoon. But as we take a look at our map, take us through, guys. John, the course started early this morning at 9 o'clock with 3 laps around Logan Circle and Eakins Oval.
And Eakins Oval, then it goes back 3 times around for the opening 3 miles, often quite explosive. The beginning to this race out on Kelly Drive, heading down towards Manayunk for the approach to the wall, where it gets really, really fast because the teams want to make sure that their top riders are in the front as they start making those turns into your specialty area, Todd.
Well, not anymore, but there was a day when I would have been battling very hard to be in good position at the base of the wall because it really strings out and splits up on the wall. Then the fall from the wall back down to Kelly Drive. They head up over Strawberry Mansion, then up Lemon Hill, and then they come back down here to the Parkway.
It's wonderful. Back, what a lovely course. Lemon Hill, that's where the party is. That's where the Philadelphia bike fans are. People coming down from New York, all over the country to have a good time at the bike race down to the finish line. One of the most beautiful finishes in all of the world of cycling in the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. But before you get to the finish, you've got the final 3 laps. Lemon Hill, the Benjamin Franklin Parkway, Logan Circle. 3 miles, 3 laps, 9 final miles, and that gives us the great drama that we've seen for the past 27 years.
Yeah, guys, we talked so much about the hills in Manayunk, but that Lemon Hill at the end of what has been already at that point about 135 miles of racing, Lemon Hill is no picnic either. It is for the fans because that's what they're doing, but certainly not for the athletes.
And look at these guys. This is their 6th time up the Manayunk Wall. We'll have to get a stat on who is leading our King of the Wall sprint series, because every lap there's a series of points at the top of the Manayunk Wall, a separate prize, a little rabbit to put in front of the noses of these racing dogs, if you will, to keep them going fast. But look, Todd, that looks like a fairly tired breakaway group to me right now.
It does, but you know, it's going to be that way because this wall is very steep. It may be short, just over a half a mile, but it has 17% grades on it, and big crowds really trying to cheer these riders on, but there's nothing you can do. It's still going to take it out of your legs.
Guys, every time I see it, I feel for the athletes as they battle up the Manayunk Wall, but they really do make it look easy, and I would imagine that the fans, the thousands of fans that have lined Levering Street up and down the Manayunk Wall, that has to help. I heard one of the athletes describe to me earlier in the week, he said when you turn the corner and hit the wall for the first time, it's not just a wall of concrete and pavement, it's a wall of sound that you're coming into. You know, Todd, 1991 King of the Mountain, you know all about it, but I would imagine the fans help you out.
Well, you know, the fans do help quite a bit. These guys now are heating up for that sprint. It's Quinn Keogh on the front, and right there with them is Alex Hagman for Jelly Belly. So they're sprinting for those mountain points on the King of the Wall competition. Talk about insult to injury. You got to get up that climb, and then you have to sprint it out every time for the points on top.
It never gets easy in this race here. The TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships. We're here with you until it is all said and done. Thanks for being here. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more racing action. And we welcome you back as we're taking a look at live racing action now as the peloton heads into Manayunk, and then our leaders out in front and heading back towards the parkway, guys.
On the fall from the wall, the peloton breathing down their necks, ever so closer, approaching the wall, a great strung up peloton, and there they are on their approach to the wall, all trying to push and shove. And Todd, the wall is the hard part, but the approach to the wall is hard as well.
It really is, and you would think that it wouldn't be such a big deal, but the positioning is critical. Look at them, gutter to gutter, curb to curb, as we have guys just fighting for position.
That's the Liquigas team on the front, one of their team workers.
That's Tim Duggan, the American on the front. Excellent. For that squad.
Excellent. That team from Italy with an American sponsor, Cannondale, who build bikes right here in Pennsylvania, on the front and approaching the wall. They have one of the great favorites of the race in Peter Sagan, the Slovak, the phenomenal as he's known in Italy and around the world. So that team obviously attentive and making sure that they're potential race winner in position for this Manayunk Wall.
And what a shot we just saw high above the city of Philadelphia from our helicopter camera. Now a look at our motorcycle cameras in front of the peloton. What a terrific shot as they start to spread out now, John, and approach the Manayunk Wall.
And that's a big drag race into the turn, because once you hit those turns, the whole thing strings out. You make a hard right, another hard right, a hard left, and bang, up the wall you go. Look at the field stringing out as we speak. Look at the American Duggan doing his good professional job.
Yeah, and they've got some cobblestones there as well, right off of Levering, just to keep things exciting.
Sure.
To scrub off all the speed you have so that you just really have to grind your way up the wall every time.
Going to be very interesting to see what the action is on the wall this time.
And here they come as they begin that climb. The cowbells are ringing, and the men are pumping those legs, trying to get up that 17% grade that is the Manayunk Wall.
And the wall starts out hard, but it gets harder.
Yes, it does.
That's the beautiful thing.
I can attest to that.
I see 1, 2, 3 Liquigas riders on the front, Todd. Those boys mean business today, that's for sure.
Well, their sprinter, the Slovak you were mentioning, Peter Sagan, he won a stage of the Tour of California just a couple of weeks ago. That was his 5th win of the year. Remember, he was 2nd in this race last year, and he's a heavy favorite here. Oh! Is this Mancebo? It is. Paco Mancebo, the Spaniard, going on the attack up the wall. This man has been on fire this year.
Eric Wahlberg called it right. Mancebo, he goes uphill real fast. This is his battleground right now. if he's going to make a difference in this bicycle race now or 2 hours from now, it has to be on this hill. And whoa, look at that. Now that's a man who can climb.
He's been unbelievably solid racing both in the U.S. and internationally this year. But the races he's been doing in the U.S., he's been cleaning up.
He could use some more help. It'd be better for him if he had 2 or 3 more riders with him. With only 3, that's not a lot of horsepower to hold off a chasing field. So Mancebo's going to keep pushing like that. He's going to keep prodding, looking for his opening, looking for his time to escape on this hill. It might not be this lap, but mark my words, he'll be doing this every lap, trying to crack this field.
And for those that are new to the cycling game, it is obviously an individual sport at some level, but it is most definitely a team sport as well, and you need the help of your teammates.
Whoa, he strung out that field.
Yeah, you need the help of your teammates because guys have different objectives out there, and you want to save your sprinters. Like, you won't see Peter Sagan going on the attack right now. He'll be saving it for the last lap because he's got a field sprint type of finish. But Mancebo, he's a breakaway rider. He wants to force the field to blow apart. He wants to string it out here and see if he can get 5 or 10 guys to go off the front with him and go up the road to that other break, and then he'll be happy.
So, John, are we seeing right now a critical point in this race as the peloton begins to stretch out like that?
It's a tough moment because the race is getting longer. They've been pedaling hard for quite a while, so on today.
Yeah.
And the point is they're getting weaker. And when you see the field strung out all in a row like that, when you see the gaps appearing between the wheels, you have a sign of a tired peloton under attack, and the gap is now down to 5 minutes and 40 seconds at the King of the Mountain. This breakaway, they sense that their time in the front in the sun might be coming to an end. That's for sure.
Well, and for these guys, they knew pretty much when they went away that this would be a very hard day to stay away for the last 5 hours. They got away inside the first hour. It's so long because the drafting that you get off of other riders, if they're going flat out and you're sitting on their wheel, you're going like 2/3 of maximum.
Yeah.
So if you think about that over 6 hours, it's a massive differential, and that's how all the strategy comes into play in bike racing.
Yeah, and that's why the team managers and the cars that you see in our coverage are so very important. We'll talk about what they're able to do coming up in just a little bit, but just to put it in perspective, as the gap has closed to about 5:45, we told you, and at one point, guys, it was up over 8.5, close to 9 minutes at the beginning. So you can see it is slowly coming back. It'll be very exciting if and when it all closes back up.
The thing about cycling, it's often not the strongest rider who wins. It's the most efficient rider, the rider who has used the wind, the other riders, the terrain, and the tactical situations to his best advantage. The strongest rider can finish dead last 20 minutes behind the field. And a rider with
That's not fair.
No, that's cycling. That's what's cool about cycling. Because if you're smart, you can adapt, you can manipulate, and a rider with less strength can win. And it's a great equalizer, and that's what makes it fun.
And definitely, it's a thinking person sport. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. Well, it's also a very athletic testing sport. 3 hours and 19 minutes, but we've got hours to go before it's all said and done. We're coming right back here on Comcast Sportsnet. Welcome back. And gentlemen, it's not just the men in the spotlight here in Philadelphia this morning. Of course, the Women's Liberty Classic ran. It started about 9:15 this morning. Over 100 international cyclists out on the course. The 18th running of the Women's Liberty Classic. That makes it one of the longest and best in the country. 57.6 miles. And Todd, in this field, we had ourselves a world champion, and well, she handled herself just fine.
Well, Giorgia Bronzini is a very good finisher, but earlier in the race, before the finish, Lex Albrecht, the Canadian for Juvederm Specialized, spent a lot of time off the front by herself, but she was reeled in by the pack late in the race, and it ultimately set up a big bunch finish.
The HTC Columbia team did their very best to break up this race at the end, Todd, but there was no escaping the fact that the women were strong enough to withstand their attacks and bring it down to a sprint as the field spread out all across the road. The sprint is launched. HTC lining up their train, trying to get their sprinter in position for the win. Across the road, right and left, but on your right side, you can see Bronzini tucked in there. Just see her bands taking that lead out, and she's waiting. Now she starts her sprint, starts to explode, and look at the explosion on the far right. Effortlessly winning this race, drifting to the middle. The world champion wins in Philadelphia. The rainbow jersey shines on the Benjamin Franklin Parkway.
No doubt about it. Giorgia Bronzini is your winner from Italy. The current road world champion wins the Women's Liberty Classic. She's with our Lisa Hillary.
Well, first of all, Georgina, congratulations. Was that your plan, to wait for the field sprints and then, of course, win it?
Thanks. We wait the sprinter because I'm a sprinter, and all the girls work for me today. They do so much work, and only I say thanks to my team.
This is your first time competing in this championship, and I know you talked about the wall when we first interviewed you. What were your thoughts going up for the first time?
Yeah, it's my first time, and some people said me the wall is a wall, and but I've been not afraid because in the world in Melbourne was too much strong the wall, and over there 8 time and here 4 time. Maybe I feel good in the race was so.
I know you touched here on your teammates. Could you have done this without them?
No, I think no. Without my team, I can win.
Congratulations. Thanks for the time.
Thanks.
Murph, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you, Georgia and Todd. Wow, what a race.
And she's referring in her Italian accented English to the World Championships in Geelong last year, where they had 8 really sharp climbs, so she wasn't too intimidated by the wall here, but everybody told her about it in advance. Obviously, she's got a masterful sprint. If she's there at the end, look out.
Yeah, Georgia wasn't, she said, I wasn't too concerned about it. I wasn't scared of it. I would imagine, John, not much is scaring Giorgia Bronzini when she's on her 2 wheels.
When you have those rainbow stripes, as we call them, that beautiful white jersey with those stripes on your back, not much scares you.
No doubt about it. 57.6 miles was the Women's Liberty Classic. Giorgia Bronzini is the 2011 champion, so congratulations to her. As we take you back now to live action of the men's race. They are about a little more than halfway through at this point. 156 miles for the men when it's all said and done, and we still have a lead group, but the gap between the lead group and the Peloton guys is quickly closing as we take a look at our helicopter shot high above the parkway.
I'll tell you what's good to see. It's good to see that the Liquigas team is on the front doing their work to pull this field back. You know, Todd and I had been talking before, and the American team, the United Healthcare team, had been the one, it seems to me, who ignited this chase. Mike Tomeo, their director of sportif, he has no fear. He believes that his team is as good as any team in the world, and he acts like it. And through that mentality, that team draws that confidence. They went on the front, they lined it up, they nailed the chase, and now the other teams are saying, hey, they got some time, they ate some time to this breakaway, we better join in and help. We call that igniting the chase, and kudos to United Healthcare for setting this race on fire.
Yeah, Johnny Clark, the Australian on that squad. He's got his brother Hilton Clark in there as one of the sprinters, as well as Robert Forster. They got a bunch of fast guys, and they said, you know what? If the European teams aren't going to come chase this breakaway down, then we better get it going, because otherwise they may stay away.
Yeah, they may indeed. As we got a great look right there of our leaders as they come down the Ben Franklin Parkway. They literally just passed us here at Eakins Oval. They're headed down to Logan Circle. They'll whip around and come across the finish line once again to complete another lap. But still, as we mentioned, a long way to go on this one. And the Peloton is quickly closing, and we should expect to see them on the Ben Franklin Parkway in just a couple minutes. What a shot indeed right there. It's back together again, guys, a little bit, but certainly you can see not as bunched up as it was the last time we took that shot.
Yeah, and what happens in this race, it's a race of attrition. It's 156 miles. That's a long way no matter how you count it. And the fact is that every time up the wall, it leaves a bit of damage in the legs of the riders. And every time you lose some riders on the wall, and every time they approach the start-finish line, they're that much more fatigued. It's like the early blows in a boxing match. They're not the knockout blows, but they fatigue the boxer. It's the same boxer. It's the same thing in a bike race.
Yeah, well, you got such a long day, and the wall and the other climbs, And it's really this race of attrition for so long. The field slowly gets whittled down, and then guys actually go out of the field late and push on for the win.
All right, so we're seeing our leaders now come across the finish line. There you see the time of the race, 3 hours, 28 minutes, and 4 seconds, and counting as they cross that finish line again. And they're going to pass us here on the left in just a second. And there they go, 5 men now in that as they complete lap number 7. 9 total, 6 of the big laps.
They've completed 9. They're on their 10th lap, and now we'll have to see what the time gap is as the peloton comes around, chasing peloton. But again, lots of United Healthcare riders in the front of that peloton. They're going to get a lot of credit for having done the work to close this breakaway down, going around beautiful, beautiful Aikens Oval. How magnificent is this start-finish area in Philadelphia? It's absolutely world-class, and everybody who comes here knows that.
And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we have the best seat in the house to watch it all. It really is fantastic as you look down the Ben Franklin Parkway here in Philadelphia.
That's the feed zone. All those tents, all the teams are lined up in there. The boxes, as we call them, on the right side. You'll see the trainers holding out bags, called little musette bags of like little cloth purses. Watch it. There it is. Perfect example. Looking, what's for lunch?
Yeah, Glenn Chadwick, he's really one of the stalwarts of the American peloton. Really hardworking guy. Says, you know what? I don't want that bottle. He checked. Let's see what else is in there.
And it's not littering. That's a souvenir.
That's right. Pick that up and take it home with you because you just got it from one of the world-class athletes right there. Very interesting shot as our cameras gather, I guess, in essence, like a pit crew, very much in auto race.
Exactly. And you have to hold the bags out there, the bottles, close your eyes, and hope they don't run into you if you're a trainer. It's a very brave profession being a soigneur.
Yeah, and if you think about it, 6 hours on the bike, they're going to burn 5,000 calories today on the bike, give or take. Smaller guy, a few or less calories, bigger guy, more calories. That's a lot of calories, and you can't store all that from breakfast. You got to get that food along the way.
Look at that. They're passing one another. The field is coming up, and the breakaway is going down. How interesting. Now they see each other. Now that's a tough psychological moment for the breakaway because they've seen the field, and the field has seen them.
I'm still stuck on the 5,000 calories. If that's not a reason to go out and buy a bike, I don't know what is, right?
No kidding.
The fountain of youth, the bicycle. That is sure.
Yes, we learned that earlier today in the women's race. Jeannie Longo, of course, is 53 years old, 53 years young, competing today in the Women's Liberty Classic. We're hoping to talk to her coming up a little bit later on in our coverage as well. And here you're seeing a great example, guys, of the team manager getting a chance to talk to some of his riders and, I guess, at this point, talk strategy.
Well, it's a lot easier to do when you're in the breakaway because there's only 5 guys there. So those breakaway guys have really good sort of access to their team director in the car. That was Roman Killen there talking with Frankie Andreu, a multiple-time Tour de France veteran, about what's going on, and also could get some food or some drink as well. But back in the field, that's much harder to pull off because you got a huge group and a lot of cars, and you have to ask permission to drive up there, and it gets a little bit technical back there.
There's Bruno Langlois of Steve Bauer's Spider Tech team. We haven't talked about them. That's a team out of Canada headed by Steve Bauer, who for me, Todd, is one of the great riders in history. He was such an admirable athlete in every way, and his aura carries through with this young team. He's assembled all the best Canadians that he can find, put them together, campaigning them in Europe. No surprise that they're on the front being aggressive.
With a guy like Steve Bauer, he's a guy who wore the yellow jersey of the Tour de France. He's one of the great North American riders for sure. He used to come to the U.S. a lot and dominate. He used to battle tooth and nail with Davis Finney in the sprints, but those guys both ended up over in Europe later on and dominating a lot of sprints over there as well.
Oh, they were wonderful bike races, both of them.
About 20 international teams on hand for today's bike race, and each team, guys, can have a maximum of 8 riders, but we saw that some of the strongest teams out in the field have gone with a little bit less than that, which is an interesting strategy.
Well, it's the challenge like HTC High Road. They won this race 2 years ago with Andre Greipel. They won it last year with Matt Goss. This year, that pressure falls onto Lee Howard's shoulder, another Australian, just like Goss was last year, but they only brought 5 guys because they have obligations around the world. So they got teams in other countries. 2 of their guys have broken bones from the Giro d'Italia, which ended just last Sunday. And so they have a smaller team here, and that's going to make it really hard for them.
John, how much more difficult is it to win if you only have 5 guys on your team?
Well, this is where I've got as much as I admire the chutzpah of Mike Tamayo, if I were a director, I'd be trying to kill off those teams and making them do all the chasing. I don't know if I'd put my boys in the front there. I'd say, you know what, you guys are Pro Tour guys. You have 10 times the budget that we do, 10 times, literally, and I would try to kill them. There are only 5 HTC Columbia riders. These are Tour de France teams, what we call Pro Tour teams for people who are new to cycling. You have 6 Italians. Why not kill them? Why not make them have the entire responsibility of the race and weaken them and level the playing field a bit?
I like your style, John Eustice.
I'm completely with you. If I were Tamayo, I would say, look, let those guys bring back the break and then let's ambush them, because they're the biggest teams in the race. They both, HTC's won this the last 2 years in a row for the men. They want to make it 3. Liquigas Cannondale, it's a massive team. They want to win this race. Let them do the hard work and then try and take advantage of them.
Well, up.
But on the front, it's one of Mike's guys, so he must know what he's doing.
As they pass us right here on the Ben Franklin Parkway, that is the peloton, and now they are about 5 minutes and 45 seconds still behind that chase group. So no time closed in the last 10 to 15 minutes, but as they approach another lap, though, again, as we talked about, guys, start to chip away and close it out. But some men are doing a lot of the work at this point.
I have the King of the Mountain standings as the last time up the wall. And the guy who started out winning them, Glenn Chadwick, is now down to 3rd. Keogh for Exergy is in 2nd. And Alex Hagman for Jelly Belly is in the lead there. So those are your top 3 of the King of the Mountains points.
And Todd, explain to the folks at home who are watching maybe for the first or second time exactly what that's all about. Because in 1991, you were the King of the Mountain. It's a prestigious title. It's a cool title, quite frankly. I wish I could be called King of the Mountain.
King of Mania.
Yeah, the King of Mania. But it is important, is it not?
It's good to be king.
It is always good to be king.
Let's face it. It doesn't matter what it's king of. No, it's the event. It's the special competition today that is not about time. It's about points. And every time they go up the wall, there are points awarded to the top guys across that line. And you add them up, and whoever has the most points at the end of the day after the 10 times up, that's your king of the wall. But they got to finish the bike race.
That's right.
They can't drop out, because then it's going to go to the first guy who finishes with the highest number of points.
And it's not nothing. It's $1,100 if you win the King of the Mountain. That'll buy some beers post-race.
It certainly will. Yeah, you got to fill up with those calories again, because you just burnt 5,000 of them.
That's a lot of beers, 5,000
That
calories.
is a lot of beers.
You'll take that $1,100.
As you see now the great shots as they head down Boathouse Road. They're heading out again now towards Manayunk to do it all over again. Wow. It is a world-class event, and it is a world-class city in which it's being held in Philadelphia. What a backdrop, what a showcase the city of Philadelphia has been for 27 years at one of the longest running and certainly most prestigious races in North America.
So the gap is down to 5 minutes and 15 seconds, 34-minute lap time. Things are starting to heat up. The field all stretched out in a single line. This race, a characteristic of professional racing, Todd, I'm sure you'll agree, is that the closer you get to the finish line, the faster it goes. Sometimes they start slow.
Yeah.
They do, the pros. They start slow, they settle in, the brake goes, okay, we'll let it go. But then they start to pick it up, as opposed to amateur racing, which often starts like crazy, and then they get fatigued and they slow down. The pros build it up. They know how to create a show, a spectacle, and a dynamic finish, and the slower they go in the beginning, the faster they go at the end.
I thought it was interesting, your analogy to boxing, because in a lot of ways, the boxers feel each other out for a little bit as they start in the ring. You got to see what your opponent has and where he's going to try and take it, and then you impose your strategy, hopefully, as the fight goes on, or in this case, obviously, as the race goes on. And right now, I'm sure all the team managers are starting to think, how do I get my guys in a position to be there when it's all said and done?
And that's Lee Howard right now up without his hands on the bars. He's the sprinter for HTC High Road, as he's the guy that they're doing all the work for. And it's a huge load to keep on your shoulders when your teammates are literally riding themselves to a nub of them former self to get you to win, and you have to deliver. That's a lot of pressure.
And right to his right is Peter Sagan, the Slovak. The two men keeping an eye on each other. And the difference, look at them looking at each other. You see that? Oh, that's good stuff. And they might be that close again together at the finish. If this does indeed come down to a field sprint, the way it's done every year since 2005 at this point. It's turned into a pure sprinters race, but a hard sprinters race. It's not 120 men who come to the finish. It's the 40 or 50 who have survived the 10 times over the man-young wall. It's a hard man sprinters race, and it's a grand race in the tradition of such wonderful races as you've been following as Milano-San Remo. It's very much our American Milano-San Remo.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, you know, John, as we got ready for our coverage this week, you and I spent some time together, and I pinned you down, and I said, give me a few guys to look for that I can keep my eye on. And those two gentlemen that you just said, Lee Howard and Peter Sagan, are two guys that you think could be there at the end. And certainly they are neck and neck right now in the middle of the peloton, but still a long way to go. Take a look right there at the Schuylkill River here in Philadelphia. It has been a great day, and there you see the winner of the Women's Liberty Classic. She is the world champion. She's the champion here today. Giorgia Bronzini from Italy. She got it done. Who will get it done for the men? You got to come back and find out. The TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championship is brought to you by the Verizon 4G LTE, built so you can rule the air. Your Philadelphia Tri-State Cadillac dealers. And Luke Oil. At Luke Oil, we love cars, and we thank you for starting your road trip with us. As we welcome you back here, live from the Ben Franklin Parkway. And guys, what a difference a year makes. Matthew Goss and Ina Teutenberg, neither in this race, but both winners a year ago.
But their teams are certainly here. HTC not able to pull off the women's victory for the first time in a long time, but HTC certainly in the driver's seat for today's race with their young sprinter that we just saw on the screen. Matty Goss went on from winning Philadelphia to winning. We talked about the Milano-San Remo of America, and he actually did win that race, and a great surprise to everybody but the people who saw him in Philadelphia last year, Todd.
That's right. That was earlier this year. That race pushing 190 miles in one day, and he pulled off the biggest one-day victory of his career.
As we welcome you back, Greg Murphy alongside John Eustice and Todd Gogulski here in our booth at the Ben Franklin Parkway. Out on the course, Eric Wahlberg is with us on the back of a motorcycle. He'll weigh in from the race in just a couple minutes. And Lisa Hillary is out and about as well, taking in the sights and sounds in Manayunk, and we'll hear from her coming up in just a little bit as well.
So this will be the 7th time up the wall for this breakaway, and I'm guessing you're going to see a few of them shed this time. I see some heavy pedaling. When you start to go slow on a bike, we call it pedaling squares. Instead of a circle, you pedal squares. I'm seeing some squares in that breakaway. While behind, we have a shot of the peloton, and it's going, but there's no panic there. They know now that the breakaway, as we see, United Healthcare on the front like they've been for the past few hours, it seems at this point, Todd, holding that chase. But it's not a frantic chase. It's not a flat-out chase at this time. They're holding the breakaway at a sort of a manageable space.
Guys, I mentioned Eric Wahlberg out on the course, and we're going to check in with him right now. Eric, where are you, and what are you seeing right now?
Hey guys, we're just making our way through Manayunk. We're just going through the chicane into the wall here. Looks like Hagman's been going for the KOM points. The guys are setting a nice easy tempo here. They know there's a chase going on behind. They know that they're going to have to dial this thing up in a couple of laps if they have any hopes of staying away. But the brake's looking smooth right now. Everyone's working real nicely. Back to you.
Hey Eric, in terms of the breakaway, you've been out there on the motorcycle watching them. Are they starting to fatigue in particular? Are any of the guys starting to show all this time they've been in the wind?
I'll tell you what, Todd, it's awfully noisy out here, but the breakaway is cooperating really well for the last 2 laps. I haven't seen anyone skipping pulls, and they're just taking their time up the wall here. They know that they got to save their legs here, ride a good tempo on the flatter part of the course, and that's going to be their best hopes of staying away. Back to you, Todd.
So basically a lot of cooperation from the breakaway right now. And how big is the crowd out there today?
Oh, it's people are lined up all the way up the wall here, all the way through downtown Manayunk. It's absolutely fantastic showing. As normal, Philly's a great city to host this event, and the town really gets behind it. So the riders really get a kick out of this. It's great for everyone.
Eric, great stuff. We'll check back in with you in a little while. Stay out there, stay with those leaders, and then keep us abreast of what is happening. Eric Wahlberg, of course, a three-time Olympian representing for his country of Canada, and just terrific stuff and terrific work by our crew as well. It is not easy to get these pictures as well as they are getting. Terrific stuff, guys.
No, it's tremendous job, I have to say, to the production of putting together these wonderful live pictures. There's Hagman on the front going for his King of the Mountains points. He is racing up that wall. Chadwick holding on the brake, starting to show some fatigue. You see them starting to come apart like that. Even if they are trying to keep themselves together over the wall to hold off this field for yet another lap, Hagman would love to do that, to get one more time up the wall and possibly solidify his lead in that race. Now in the front of the race, that is the
KBS Optum Health.
Yes, KBS Optum Health. Thank you so much.
Some of these teams are a mouthful, guys.
Well,
There's no doubt.
it's the full name is Kelly Benefit Strategies Optum Health, but we're going KBS Optum Health, and they are drilling it right now on the field.
Now, this is the attempt to get their men to the front of the wall in good position, because this is the point in the race where the Mancebos, as we saw last time, and the riders with in France they call it little ants in your legs, the fourmis dans les jambes, they say, where you have this feeling in your legs where you have to go, and so you got to make sure your guy is in front when this race explodes this 7th time up the Maniac Wall, because this is when the race begins.
3 hours and 45 minutes into this race, and we're about 45 minutes into our coverage here on Comcast Sportsnet as the men in the peloton start to head into Maniac now, and will make those 2 sharp turns and then up the Maniac Wall once again.
That's Reed Mumford on the front, probably the only guy in the peloton with a PhD in high energy particle physics from Johns Hopkins University.
Probably, yeah.
You know, what's really encouraging to see is we have this dynamic young professional racing class in the United States. I came out of it, you came out of it, and to see they are all over this bike race. Kelly Benefits, all the boys in front. They're not afraid. They're not sitting back and being afraid of the Europeans at all. Yep. They are taking the race to the front. They're showing that they have strength, they have courage, and this is a sign of how this sport is growing so well in this country.
And what they're doing is really critical, because remember the last time through, the field was gutter to gutter. Everybody was fighting for position. Now look at it, it's single file. So if you have your team leaders back behind there in the draft, they're in the perfect position to hit the bottom of the wall without anybody in their way to go with the attacks.
And if you're back there in the bottom half of our screen on the approach to the wall and something happens, a split in the field, a gap appears, there's not much you can do about it because you're too far behind the front of the race. So that's another thing. Is like, look at the crowd in Maniac. What a scene. Very few races in the entire world have this kind of crowd and this sort of enthusiasm. It's a wonderful time.
Yeah, it is terrific stuff, and as you mentioned, all over this race are some of these riders, and obviously all over this race as well is the signature of TD Bank. It is the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships, and our Lisa Hillary is with Michael Carbone.
Thanks very much, Murph. Michael, there are so many terrific events to attach a name to. Why does TD Bank decide to go with the Philadelphia International Cycling Championships?
It's a great event in this city. It gives us a chance to brand the city green, and it's part of our culture about going green. So cycling's a very healthy event, and we're trying to encourage more and more people to use cycling as a mode of transportation. If you look around the city, you see more and more people cycling, especially with the current economic environment and the save the environment. Going green's a big thing, and it's part of who we are.
I know you've got a ton of new initiatives. Can you share with us a couple of them? And I know this one is right back here, this sneaker wall.
Yeah.
Tell us about that one in particular.
Well, every year when we do the bike race, we do our TD Shield on the Art Museum steps in some fashion to support some charity. This year we did Cradles to Crayons. Cradles to Crayons provides sneakers for children, toddlers all the way up to teenager. There are going to be 2,500 sneakers given to the organization. It's a $25,000 in-kind donation, and they'll go to great use to youth throughout the city who don't have the means to provide for themselves.
And can folks at home still get involved in that program even after the race is over?
Sure. Michael Smith, the executive director, would love to have everybody support them. They're right in West Conshohocken, and we think it's a great organization. They do a great job.
Hey, listen, thanks so much for the time, and best of luck throughout the day.
Thank you. And we want everybody to come visit our Family Fun Zone. There's great things down here. It's entirely free. A lot of people can come down,
They could go to anything they want. We have the spider tent, the dart tent, all kinds of fun things for people to do.
Well, and it's a long day, especially down here for the families and with the little ones. And I saw some face painting going on, and the kids really getting involved.
It's all about them having fun, and it's about giving back to the community. And the thing is, it's free, so we want people to come down and enjoy it, and enjoy the whole day. And we couldn't do this without my great team. So we have a great team here. They put this together for us, and without them, we couldn't get it done.
All right,
so thank you.
Thanks so much, Michael. Murph, back to you.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Michael. And guys, we would be remiss if we didn't say what a great job TD Bank is stepping in and becoming the main sponsor for this race over the past couple of years. Certainly, it could not be done without them. And we have to say thank you to the good folks at TD Bank as they sponsor this event one time again. We're coming right back, so stay where you are. We're back with live coverage of the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships. Greg Murphy alongside John Eustice and Todd Gogulski. And guys, pretty significant happening right now as we were in commercial break. What's happening?
We talked about the fact that the 7th time up the wall is when the race really starts to begin, and that the chance of tired legs to come into play, and we've seen them. About 20 men have separated themselves, have cracked the rest of the field on the wall, and we've got a lot of credit has got to go to the Kelly Benefit Strategies team, or the KBS Opta Health team, as I'll finally figure out by the end of this broadcast, in cracking this field in two. So now we have 20 men, and gaps are starting to show in the race, and we have a whole new ball game.
And they're still driving this group as they've got a bunch of guys in it, so they really put a big effort in going up to the wall, drilled it up the wall, and now they have a very legitimately powerful group that's gone away from the field.
That was my question for you guys. About 20 guys in this particular breakaway. Is that enough? Is that the kind of number that you need to really make a difference?
Well, it could be too many. Sometimes, look at it, the HTC rider won't pull. Will the HTC rider come through? This will be a big sign. Once the man in green pulls off to the right, is the HTC rider going to commit to this breakaway? Yes, he is. Okay, so now we got some action behind them. 1, 2, 3 liquid gas riders, 4 liquid gas riders. Now, they have got a tremendous F5. The entire team seems to be up there. The liquid gas riders, they got to nail it.
United Healthcare is there as well in the blue and white with several men. So there's a lot of horsepower in this group. It'll take us a minute to sort out exactly who's in it, but if they ride together, this group could easily produce the winner today.
I tell you, liquid gas sitting in the cat seat in this one. They've got to nail this breakaway. This is a big present to them. Thank you to the Americans for breaking open this race. Now let's see if the Italians can take over and nail this breakaway and make it the definitive one of this bicycle race.
So as these guys work together in their own individual teams, but they also have to work together as a breakaway team to kind of try to figure out. And it'll be interesting to watch as the strategy develops.
Well, this is the cycling. Cycling is like politics. Alliances of convenience. You work together. You find an alliance. You work together, and then you pull out the knives at the end of the day and try to kill one another. And that is exactly. And the point is to pick your time to pull out your knife, right, Todd?
It's a gruesome business, but you know they're friends for a long time. And then when you get close to the finish line, you're not friends anymore.
It's very medieval. The whole mentality. I've got to tell you, that's the beauty of it.
I love it indeed. Eric Wahlberg is out right amongst the breakaway and the leaders. Eric, what do you got?
Hey guys, we've had a very significant development here. We've got a group of 16 that have come off the top of the Maniac Wall clear, driven hard by the Kelly Benefit Optimum Health team. We've got some representation from Kenda in here, and we've got quite a few leaky gas teams. So this is going to be a very interesting development as they close hard on our breakaway group. And from the front here, I see just clear road behind us. So I'm not too sure the gap on this, but let's keep track of this. This is very significant.
All right,
back to you, Todd and John.
Thank you very much, Eric. Todd, and you've just gotten word on what that gap is right now.
It's down to 3 minutes and 20 seconds at the wall line at the top. And you can see on the front, this looks like Andy Bajadali, the KBS Optum Health rider. These guys very motivated in this breakaway, John.
And they've got a brilliant director and a massive multiple race winner, Jonas Carney, a master tactician on the track, on the road, at the wheel, and they really know what they're doing on that team. It's very interesting to see who from High Road is in that team.
It's Patrick Gretsch in second place with the yellow shoes, the 24-year-old German. Just last Sunday, 1 week ago, he was 8th in the final time trial, day number 21 of the Tour of Italy. Woo. He arrived here on Thursday. Imagine the jet lag. and now he's racing.
He looks nice pedal style, fast pedaler, real German position on the bike, low saddle, flat heel. That's a classic German bike rider if I've ever seen one.
A nice guy too. I did a ride with him yesterday.
There you go, and his specialized S-Works hyper bike. That's quite a team. Who else? Who's the sprinter on the? Do they have a sprinter? What is the reason? Now, what we have to figure out. What is the reason that he's driving that breakaway?
Yeah, it's interesting. We haven't seen Lee Howard, their sprinter, in there. I haven't seen Rasmussen in there, who'd be their second sprinter. So maybe, I don't know, maybe their sprinters don't feel good. I mean, they talk out there and they say, you know what, I'm not feeling good. If you get in a move, go for it.
Go for it. And that's what it's all about, the strategy. We are racing right now, and I should tell folks this portion of today's race is sponsored by GMC. We are professional grade. Visit your local dealer today. These guys are using nothing but leg power right now to power themselves, and they are certainly doing yeoman's work as they try to catch that lead group. And as we just mentioned, as Todd just mentioned, that time is starting to dwindle as we head into this part.
Look at the efforts on the face of Timothy Duggan on the front of that field, a young American on the Italian team, showing that he belongs in the Pro Tour sphere.
5 men in the lead lap, 16 in this particular chase group, and the peloton behind them. All of a sudden, things are starting to get interesting out here in Philadelphia. How will it all play out? And what is the strategy? We'll figure it all out. We'll talk about it when we come back from break. It's the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships on Comcast Sportsnet. Most Olympic gold medalists with an opportunity to turn pro do so in the same sport. Then there's Eric Heiden, 5 golds and regarded by most as the greatest speed skater ever. As it turns out, crossing over from one Hall of Fame career to another is as easy as riding a bike. In 1985, he rode to victory in the inaugural Philadelphia professional event.
Oh, this is the biggest win I've ever had in my life, you know. It's the first time I've ridden in national championships, and then to have this at the professional level with all these Europeans here is...
Woo, indeed, as we take a look at Eric Heiden. That was back in 1985, and we are excited to welcome in via telephone the first winner of this TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championship. Eric Heiden is with us. Dr. Eric Heiden is with us, should say, from Park City, Utah. Eric, thanks for being with us.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hey, does it seem like it's been 27 years since you crossed the finish line here in Philadelphia?
It doesn't seem that long until I look in the mirror and I realize there's a lot more wrinkles and a lot more gray hair. And then I get out on my bike and I realize I don't have that strength anymore. So, yeah, sometimes it seems like a long time.
Eric, it's John Eustice here. You know, I always wanted to know, you were such a golden boy at the Olympics, and there was so much you could have done with that, yet you took that fame and accomplishment and gave it to a little tiny growing sport like cycling and helped it so much. Why did you do that for cycling?
I've always had a passion for cycling, and it was a sport that we used in the summertime to cross-train for speed skating, and I really enjoyed it at that time, but I had to kind of keep it on the back burner until I was done with the speed skating, and once that was done, I ran into a good friend of mine, ultimately Jim Ockowitz and Tom Schuler, and we were able to put together the 7-Eleven team and pursue one of those dreams that I think most cyclists have, which is to have the opportunity to race in Europe and participate in the Tour de France. So I took that opportunity and raced with the 7-Eleven team for 7 years.
And you raced very successfully, and your win here in 1985 absolutely launched this race and launched this sport. So from someone, from a lifer in the sport, we thank you.
You're welcome. I tell you, it's even today, you know, it's been a long time, but still, cycling is a passion of mine, and I still stay very involved. I work as a doctor for the BMC cycling team. Unfortunately, we don't have any riders there. We're stretched a little thin with some participating now in the Dauphiné, which I think started either yesterday or today. But it's a race that has always been dear to me. Philadelphia really embraced it in 1985, and they continue to do so even today.
Eric, it's Todd now, and so you went on from 85, winning the first event here in Philly, and to do the Tour de France. How could you compare Philly to your experience in the Tour de France?
Well, it's different. You know, Philly is a one-day race, and the terrain in Philadelphia really kind of suits my abilities. I'm pretty heavy, or I was pretty heavy for a cyclist. So in the Tour, when you get to the mountains, it's guys like me who are really sort of in the back of the peloton, just trying to make the time limit. But the race in Philly, you just have really Maniac Wall, which is enough to sort of separate out the field to some extent. But it's not those big, long, sustained climbs. I would tell you, I've been involved with a number of sports, and cycling by far has been the most challenging for me. You get involved in those three-week-long stage races, and that's a pretty big physical effort, and it was something that was really sort of beyond my physical abilities.
That's saying something for a guy who has 5 gold medals from the Winter Games. Tell me about the crowd and the atmosphere in Philly versus the Tour de France. Maybe not the mountains, but that other aspect of the race.
No, the crowds are very similar. At the Tour, when you're in the mountains and you're going up climbs, it's like just a wall of sound. And Philadelphia is the same thing. You're climbing up Maniac Wall, and you have the entire community there screaming and yelling. It's hard to, listen to your bike. It's hard to hear what's going on with your teammates. And then when you get down near the finish line, again, you just have this wall of sound that surrounds you. It's inspiring. Even though you're tired, it's nice to have people like that screaming and yelling for you.
Eric, one last thing, John Eustice, you said the 3-week tours are beyond your ability, but I do recall a Tour of Italy where you came home, finished the race with one of the sprinters' jerseys. Am I correct in that?
You are correct in that, and I think that's really what set me up for doing well at Philadelphia. We wrapped up the Tour of Italy, and then about a week later, we were racing in Philadelphia for the national championships. So we came into that race very fit.
Eric, before we let you go, I'm sure folks are wondering what you're up to today. It's not like you're sitting back and resting on your laurels. You're out there working. You are a physician, right, out there in Utah?
Yeah, I am an orthopedic surgeon. I've been practicing that for 15 years. I'm also the medical director for USA Speed Skating, and I work also with the BMC cycling team. I'm one of 5 physicians who takes care of that team, which is a lot of fun. So I was just at the Tour of California for a week, and then out in Greensville at the National Championships.
A gold medalist, a physician, and a champion here in Philadelphia back in 1985. Eric Heiden, a real pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for joining us for a couple minutes today.
You're welcome.
Eric Heiden, one of the great champions, not just in cycling, but one of the great champions in sports history. I remember as a kid watching Eric Heiden as a speed skater, and he was the best in the world, obviously, and he certainly made his mark on cycling as well.
And what a modest guy. Did you see how I had to pull?
Yes.
The fact that he actually finished the race, one of the special jerseys out of him? That's a champion inside and out.
And his thighs were bigger than my waist.
Oh, my God, he's so strong.
I'm serious. They were like 33 inches, and I had a 30-inch waist as a racer, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
What an athlete he was, and a champion through and through. We certainly do appreciate his time. We're continuing on our coverage here of the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships. We're coming right back right after this. It is a great day in June, the first Sunday in June, a tradition here in Philadelphia. Of course, the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships. Families out, enjoying the day, enjoying the world-class athletes, and a world-class race here in the city of brotherly love. Gregg Murphy, along with John Eustice, Todd Gogulski, Eric Wahlberg, and Lisa Hillary in our coverage. And 3 more times, gentlemen, for the big laps, and then they will shorten it up, and they'll go through Lemon Hill and Eakins Oval and finish up. So we still have a little ways to go in this race, and 3 more times up that Maniac Wall for all of these races.
And those 3 times up the wall will seem like a long way to go for almost everybody in this field. Our 5 heroes, our 5 escapers are down to a 2-minute and 3-second lead only on the field, and they're trying Hagman here. His goal, he's leading the King of the Mountains classification. His goal now is get to the wall, get to the top of the wall one more time so he can tie up that classification, and then he will have had a successful day as long as he's got the juice left in the tank to finish the race.
All right, well, guys, certainly strategy is a big part of the race, and the team managers and team directors are doing what they have to do to get their guys in a position to be there at the end. And we're happy to welcome in the team director from Team Exergy, Tad Hamilton, is on the phone right now. Tad, how are you, and how are you feeling right now about where your guys are?
Oh, fantastic. We're very pleased. Quinn was in the break last week at Greenville, and I think that's helped him out a great deal today. I think that by my tally, he's sitting second on points for the KOM. I don't know if he can. I don't know if he can take that jersey, but there's always a chance Hagman won't make it to the line, right? So, but the thing that I noticed on the last lap with the small split was our man Diaz was in the split, and that big of a group with a guy like Diaz in there, that really. The hammer hit the anvil back there in the peloton. There's no way anybody's going to let Diaz ride. So even though a lot of people don't know who Andres is, the people in the race know exactly who Andres is. So we have a couple cards to play. Andres is a stayer. We got Freddie and Carlos for the finish. I like our chances.
So just to bring the viewing audience up to speed, he's talking about one of their strongmen, Andres Diaz, who's a Colombian on that team. But up in the break, he's got Keogh. And is that going to be a real objective of the team to try and come away with a King of the Wall competition here today, Tad?
Would you repeat that? I'm sorry, the radio was on.
I just wanted to know if it was a real big objective for the team to try and get the King of the Wall competition today.
No, it was not even part of the plans. We wanted Quinn in the break just to take the responsibility off the team. And then I told him not to contest the points, and then it turned out that he was feeling very good because of his work last. Felt like he could maybe take it. So I don't think he even took a point until the third or fourth trip up it, and now he's threatening the jersey. So I think the preparation done last week down in South Carolina really is what's paying off right now.
Tad,
So
John Eustice here. Tell us about your big gun, Freddie Rodriguez. Is he in shape? Do you think he's been back in the saddle long enough to be a factor at the end of today's race after all these miles? You got Diaz, you've got a second secret weapon Colombian in there. You've got a sleeper team that's doing big things so far today and possibly could pull something off at the end. What about Freddie? How is he?
I agree, John. I think that, as far as Freddie's condition, I think your guess is as good as mine. I asked him on the phone a week and a half ago where he thought he was at, and he said he had sensations in his legs he hadn't had for a couple of years. So, I mean, Freddie's been around long enough. I think he knows himself, and he's probably the only guy who really knows where he's at right now. But I do know that Andres is going to probably have a go here before the end, and Carlos and Andres always right at the front. So if Freddie's got the legs, Carlos can put him in position to have a chance. And obviously Freddie's smart enough to win this race. He's done it before.
Hey, Tad, before we let you go, every team comes in with a plan and a strategy. Where is your plan and strategy now? Has it completely changed at this point?
Not one bit. It's perfect. We just lost one of our domestics out the back, but he probably came to the car 10 times today. We were fortunate to draw the number one car. So, that's always helps when you can get information and food and water to the guys quickly. So we've had a little good luck, I think, and hopefully we can cash in. This is a big chance for us.
Yeah, you need a little luck in this race as well, no doubt about it. Tad Hamilton, thanks so much, team director from Team Extra G. Feeling very good, guys, about where his team is right now, both in the overall race and in the King of the Mountain points as well. And your eyes lit up, Todd, when he said we had the number one car. That's a significant thing.
It's a huge deal because it's a lottery. They just drew out of the hat to get their car position. Team number one, that's a lot better than being back 15 or 20 cars in the race. But he also mentioned that he lost one of their team helpers, their domestiques, who'd been back to the car 10 times already today, John. They're doing a lot of work for those leaders, going back, getting bottles, getting food, bringing them up, leaving their leaders in the front where they can watch all the danger men and be out of trouble.
It's a hard job being a support rider on a bicycle racing team. You'll have your team meeting before the race. You decide who you want to support, and the other riders have to make sure that the ones who are designated the leaders have water, stay in position, go back now that there are no radios in the race world, go back to the cars, get information from the directors, bring it back, tell the team leader what the director said. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They go all day, and after a while they pop. And that's you talk about unsung heroes. That is really a tough job you don't see on TV, but we can tell you that is what they have to do, and that's one of the other little things, or big things rather, that make cycling such a brutal sport.
John, I noted a little bit of frustration in your voice when you mentioned the idea that there are no radios. What is that all about? Because it's a relatively new thing in cycling, no team radio.
It's a real dividing point between the rulers in Switzerland, the UCI, the FIFA of cycling, if you will, and the rest of the intelligent professional racing world. Everybody wants radios. The radios, these little tiny radios that are pinned to the riders' ears. The team directors behind the cars give them time gaps, give them strategic advice, but most of all, or not most of all, but just as importantly, give them the ability to know if there are hazards on the road, if there are dangers off the road, because these are races. No matter how much control there is, Todd, there's always somebody that escapes the barricade. There's always something that happens. And here you go.
And we're taking a look at the reaction to the proposed ban. I'm so interested to hear you guys talk about it, because it's a big part of the sport, and it seems to be it was a blanket ban right across the sport. And Todd, you're not for it either.
I'm not, and a lot of people in the media actually have been in support of it, but I think that most guys who used to race are not in support of it, because it makes racing safer, and it really doesn't hurt the racing action, in my opinion. The guys can get good information, and what if a car were to get out there on the course?
Yeah.
And so any official has a radio. They can say there's a car on the course. All the team managers will know. They can tell their riders. A rider was killed in South America last fall because there was no radio, and a car got on the course and went head on into a guy by himself, and that was it.
And hello, it's 2011. It's a modern era.
Yeah.
We have bicycles with these wattage meters that are wireless, that are downloaded to computers. These things are like America's Cup racing yachts, these bicycles. So bring the sport into the modern era. It's not going to make the sport different, worse. It's going to make it different. It's going to make it better. It's going to make it more technological. It's going to allow the fans eventually to hear what's going on in the peloton like they do in NASCAR. It makes no sense whatsoever. I better calm down.
Yeah, John and Todd have been heard on the issue. Hopefully they will hear you over there in Switzerland and make a different decision overall on this proposed ban. It's been terrific so far as we take a look at the peloton now heading into Manayunk. They're just about 3 or 4 minutes away from the 8th time up the Manayunk wall, Todd.
And I just want to make the point, we had a bunch of people on the phone and radios and so on. That group of 17 or 16 riders has been caught by the field, so they just didn't have that synergy they needed. Everybody wasn't willing to work hard enough, so they were caught.
Well, they still have 5 men that are need to be caught as we welcome you back to the Ben Franklin Parkway. Gregg Murphy along with John Eustice and Todd Gogulski. Eric Wahlberg is out there on the course. Lisa Hillary is out there on the course, and it's very interesting. So a group of 16 tried to break away, tried to catch those leaders. They have since now fallen back into the peloton as they head up the Manayunk wall for the 8th time, guys. When will we see another breakaway to try and catch those guys?
Oh, it's going to keep happening now. Every time up the wall, bang, they're going to attack. They're going to try to split the field. The climbers, the non-sprinters, this is going to be their last chances to actually crack this field, because if everybody gets over that wall at the same time, it's going to be a sprinter's race. If you're not a sprinter, the next few laps, that's your time. Otherwise, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, and there's a major difference between a guy who can win a sprint from a group of 50 and a guy who's good at going up that wall really fast. And so those guys that can't sprint, they have to break away. They have to get a small group, 2, 3, 5 guys, because then they have good odds. If we're there with 50 guys, they have no odds at all. Then they have to work for somebody else to win that sprint.
All right, so we're really probably about a minute or 2 away from seeing something again significant, seeing other teams now trying to make their move as they get closer and closer to the end of this race. The leaders right now are on the Manayunk wall, the 5 men who have broken away and have been out in the lead for quite some time, but that lead has dwindled. It was as lengthy as minutes at one point in our broadcast. It is down to what we think about 2 minutes right now.
I got 2:20 as the last gap.
2:20 right now. So these guys are 2 minutes and 20 seconds ahead of this group as they now come through Manayunk, and it's getting closer and closer.
And there goes Mancebo. There he goes.
So the same thing that happened on the large lap 7, lap 10 overall. Mancebo trying to break out as he goes into Manayunk and up the wall.
Look at him go. That's a fine rider. Yeah, white jersey in the Tour de France, one of the great climbers of the world. Behind him, tucked in. I don't have his.
That's one of the exergy riders there.
That's Diaz. I bet you that's Diaz.
Oh, it's Diaz.
It's got to be Diaz. Behind Kelly Benevitz. Look at those two go up the road. Look for the Liquigas riders. There's one in the front. Where's HTC? Do we have an HTC rider up in the front chasing behind? Oh, someone's cracked big.
Oh, that's Keogh. He's from the breakaway. It looks like, oh, hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Bye, Mom.
We'll make sure she gets that message.
Well, I want to point out to you that Mancebo, who just was attacking up the wall, is 5 times overall in the top 10 of the Tour de France.
Guys, here is visual proof that the Manayunk Wall is a bear. As you take a look up Levering Street in beautiful, historic Manayunk in Philadelphia, the Manayunk section. It's really like a 3-part hill, and that is it's not a real steep incline at first, but then you level off and then bang, Todd, that next part, 17% grade. That is where you separate the men from, well, guys like myself, to be quite honest with you.
I want to, one correction, it's steep at the bottom.
Okay,
It's
fair
steep
enough.
everywhere.
It's just steeper once you get halfway up.
And, you know, the 9th and 10th laps, it's so steep you can't believe it. It gets steeper every lap. It's amazing how that happens. It was started by Jerry Casale and Dave Chauner, this race, and they found the race out of the famed Hill Cycle Shop out of Chestnut Hill.
Yeah.
And that shop spawned this beautiful bicycle race that encompasses this entire city in such a wonderful manner. And the breakaway, hey, they made it over the top. Good for them.
And you know, I want to just call out to Jerry Casale, one of the founders of this, who's been battling cancer for a couple of years. He's still out here today. And Jerry, we're all here pulling for you. We hope you make it through this fair and square.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. In our thoughts and on our minds, certainly, Jerry. And what a legacy he has left for the city of Philadelphia. And we're watching it right now as the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships continue from the beautiful city of Philadelphia. The city of brotherly love certainly has embraced this race for 27 years, and it continues again this year. We're coming right back. The TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championship is brought to you by Buick. It's your kind of luxury. Visit your local dealer today. By Luke Oil. At Luke Oil, we love cars, and we thank you for starting your road trips with us. And visit Philly.com, the Philadelphia region's official visitor site, where you can plan your trip and book your hotel stay. High above Boathouse Row in Philadelphia, as we welcome you back to the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships. And this event means all kinds of things to the city of Philadelphia. It certainly is a lot of fun on race day, but I had a chance to walk the streets of Manayunk and talk to some business owners and find out what it means to them come race day.
It's absolutely crazy. Race day is like nothing you've ever seen before.
It's just pretty much mayhem.
We stay late until they let us, till people start yelling.
It kind of gets a little crazy here.
Food, beer, parties. All part of the fun that comes along with the Manayunk Bike Race. But amid all the fun and games, local business owners look forward to cashing in on the wildest Sunday of the year.
It's about 4 or 5 times what a normal Saturday or Friday would be, and it's on a Sunday, which is even better. So it really helps you from a business standpoint, especially right before summer when everybody's going down the shore.
Well, a normal Sunday in June is hit or miss sometimes. You know, a lot of people go down to the shore a lot, so this is a good day to keep everyone in Manayunk. There's a lot of people here hanging out, drinking, having a good time.
Everyone's just here to have a good time. Like I said, they're out early. They're going to stay here, especially if it's nice, if the weather cooperates. It's a bar owner's Christmas here in Manayunk.
It's absolutely a positive thing. You know, it's something that, you know, you talk about for weeks leading up to it just because you want to get it right. You know, you want to capitalize on as much business as you can. For how much business comes through, I mean, I don't think anything can be negative about it, in my opinion.
Well, not every business here in Manayunk sells food and cold drinks come race day. So what do you do if you sell, let's say, fine men's clothing, like Senor? Well, you find your niche.
I love race day. There's tons of people, new clientele. We have drinks, we enjoy ourselves. We have huge sales throughout the entire store. And we meet new clients, future clients, and we've met some great ones.
It's at least, I'll say, a good 40 to 50% boost. It's, like I said, it's the best day of the year. It's rivals as a bar, St. Paddy's Day. St. Paddy's Day and the bike race are my 2 biggest days of the year. So it is the best day, bar none.
I'm here basically all night long. It's a long day, but it's worth it. The pockets do feel good. It's a good day for all of us here at the Bayou and Cactus. We do all right.
It's a great day. I mean, you have people that have never been to Manayunk that come down and just enjoy the whole day. And it's beautiful because after the race, they stay. And the party goes on all night long.
Oh, it's certainly does. And there you see it, the streets of Manayunk. They have come out once again, the 27th time for this great cycling championships. And we're coming back right after this.
This is just about the coolest bike race I have ever been to, with all those people and that much noise. It makes this job a hell of a lot easier.
But there's still 14 flat miles to go.
June 6th, 1993 was truly a 1 in a million afternoon for a 21-year-old tough Texan. Former childhood swimmer and U.S. Olympic cyclist Lance Armstrong captured the $1 million prize for winning pro cycling's Triple Crown by adding to previous victories in Pittsburgh and West Virginia with an impressive triumph in Philadelphia.
I'm ecstatic. I think it's an honor to be the American champ, and it's a great day for U.S. cycling, having this generous prize, and hopefully the exposure that it generates is going to do a lot for our sport. Yeah, Motorola and Lance Armstrong won $1 million today, but I think everybody in this field is going to benefit from this day.
Obviously one of the great names in all of cycling. Lance Armstrong, a winner here in 1993, and then of course went on to 7 consecutive wins in the Tour de France from 99 to 2005. His career has been second to none, really, when you stop to think about American cyclist Lance Armstrong. And that day, guys, he won $1 million, so that wasn't all that shabby back in 1993. One of the great champions here in Philadelphia. Now, obviously, his name has been in the news, guys, and we would be remiss if we didn't at least get your opinions on what is happening with Lance Armstrong.
Look, he's in the toughest fight of his entire career right now. The thing you got to realize about Lance Armstrong, 15 years old, he was a professional triathlete. At 18 years old, he was ravaging the European amateur scene. 21 years old, he wins here and becomes the youngest professional world champion in the history of the sport, and everyone else knows the rest of his story. He's always been a champion. He is someone that participated in the modern system of sport. If there's a problem, it's a systemic problem, and they have to look at it that way. It's not one athlete that you got to bring down that's going to change everything. He is a great champion, and nothing is going to change that in my view.
Well, and the thing that you have to look at with cycling is they are really working probably harder than any other sport to really combat any possibility of doping. And they have this thing called the biological passport, where all their tests, the results get put into this database, and they get monitored to see if things look suspicious, and then they'll target those riders even more out of competition testing and so on. So the sport is working extremely hard to be as clean as it possibly can be.
Lance Armstrong's fame attracted a collection of some of the most influential and wealthiest business people in the United States. They created something called the USA Cycling Development Foundation, which has been creating young, clean, fresh athletes, and the fruit of their labors we can see here on the streets of Philadelphia today, all these young athletes. And for me, that's a great legacy from Lance Armstrong. So the overall picture needs to be looked at, the evolution of the sport, the evolution of the entire world of modern sport. And I think in cycling, Todd, that we can look everybody, any sport in the eye and say we have a clean generation of young riders. And all of us working together have developed this, and we're leading the world of sport in this initiative, and we can be very proud of our sport.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at a statement from Dave Chauner, of course, one of the race founders, on the issue. And, he talks about the recent high-profile revelations by top cyclists, such as Tyler Hamilton and Floyd Landis, have broken a code of silence and opened the door to inspection and reform, removing the pressure to cheat. It's a great relief to the vast majority of riders who do race clean. I know you guys feel the same way, that this is a great sport. And certainly, if it's been tarnished in any way, it is not a black and white issue. It is very much a gray issue. And we need to remember that. And one thing we do know, in 1993, Lance Armstrong was a great champion here in Philadelphia and did so much for this great sport that I know you two love so much. So we salute him for that. We did ask Lance and some of his representatives if they'd like to join us today on the broadcast. They respectfully declined. They did send us a note this morning, though, and wished us all well on our broadcast. So we thank those guys as well. They're a little busy, so we'll give them that. Meanwhile, back live on the streets of Philadelphia, we've got a pretty good race shaping up as well.
Things have changed. The breakaway, I believe, has been caught and then reassembled, Todd, unless I'm mistaken here. But I see more riders than we had in the original breakaway. I see about 8 riders, and I believe that there's been a capture of the breakaway and a counter attack. Well, let's take a look as they come around.
What I saw was Mancebo was away. He got caught by Andres Diaz. This is Mancebo on the front. Pip in second position was there with him as well. Those 3 went up to the original group of 5, and I think Keogh got dropped out of the break.
Oh, there they go. Boy,
9 guys in that group.
Okay, we'll have to get their numbers when they come around, but Mancebo, you got to hand it to him. He tried again, and look, he's gotten a result out of it. He's hammering on the front, not looking around for any help, and this great Spanish climber resuscitating his career here in the United States is showing what made him so great in the past and why he's so great today. He's got guts.
And another breakaway group is passing us right now on our right here on the Ben Franklin Parkway. I would say about 12 guys in that group as well. So it is starting to fragment, and here comes the peloton passing us about 8-9 seconds later than that last breakaway group. So things are getting a little bit tighter as we head down around Logan Circle and back up the parkway.
This race is coming to pieces. Mancebo has destroyed this race for the moment. They're going to have to do everything they can to catch back up to our flying Spaniard. And look, Todd, he's still on the front. He's not pulling over and letting other ones share the workload. He's putting his head down and ensuring that this breakaway stays away. Wow, that's a man with a lot of power.
So Diaz in second position, Pip in third. So all those guys. Here's a guy, John, I'm curious to get your take on this. I think Mancebo is underestimated in his sprint. He's a lot faster than most guys think he is, and if he comes to the finish line with a handful of guys, he could easily outsprint them.
Look, after 156 miles, it's not necessarily fast twitch muscles that wins this race, especially in a long, hard one like this one rather. This is a man who's got power, and if you can get to the finish line with a small group, that group is by definition going to be exhausted because there have been fewer of them to share the workload in the wind. They're going to come to the end tired, and yes, indeed, excellent point. Mancebo could power himself to a victory, but the race is far from over.
Speaking of the finish line, our leaders are just about to cross it once again, resetting the laps and back out towards Manayunk for the 9th time. They'll head up that wall as they cross the finish line right now. We are 4 hours and 36 minutes into this race, and they don't look like they're slowing down a little bit.
4.5 hours of racing with an hour and a half to go, and that's the hardest hour and a half of most people's lives who are on this race course, let me tell you, because this is when the race really hits it. And behind the race is, wow, Mancebo split the race into 3 groups. And there's about a 24-second gap between Mancebo and the chasing group. Ahead of that group, wow, those guys are really going hard for it. The liquid gas riders are on the front of that second group.
So are they
even third? The field's slowing down. The field 38 seconds behind, and that field looks a little beaten to me, Todd.
And so our lead group has swelled, no doubt about it, and Keogh is still in that group of leaders. I thought maybe he had been shelled, but he'll be doing as much work as he can for his teammate Andres Diaz, who has now made it up there with him.
All right, this is listen. This team Exergy, great race, huh?
Yeah.
Small team. That's what I love about this bike race. These small teams come out of nowhere and perform. This is their stage. This is their chance to show who they are, what they are to a national television audience.
And we just talked to Ted Hamilton. He said, yeah, he's the team manager, and they're right on schedule, right where they want to be. Todd, the latest on the gap.
34 minutes was the lap time, the fastest lap we've seen so far, but the gap's still very small, just 25 seconds, so there's a lot can happen still. This breakaway is by no means home free at this point.
I'll tell you, the field looked slightly beaten the last time they came across the start-finish line. They were all spread out. That means 2 things. There's a lot of fatigue, and tactically, the riders they want in the front are indeed in the front. There is Mancebo charging through. We have to get the numbers on this breakaway here. So we have, for example, Diaz is in there. Frank Pitt is there. Mancebo. Langlois stayed up there from the original breakaway. Great race for Langlois. Steve Bauer told me that he was going to be very powerful. Kilum, again, very strong. Chadwick, so the original break, Kikio, Hagman, they're all up there, and they have been joined by Pip, Diaz, and Mancebo, and those three are powering that breakaway down the road.
So I wonder, does anybody in that lead group now have an advantage because they were able to hang back for a little bit, because that original 5 or 6 guys have been doing yeoman's work, I would imagine, out in front, and now a couple guys have joined that group. Do they have an advantage at this point, Todd?
I would definitely say the 3 guys who just joined the breakaway group have the best odds. And I say that for a lot of reasons. One, simple arithmetic. They've been in the wind less of the race, but also all 3 of the guys that went up to the break all have a pretty good sprint. So all 3 of those guys could really be very fast when they smell the finish line.
Now, tactically, here's what's going to happen. The 5 men who've been out in front all day, they've got to be kaput, exhausted. They're holding on for dear life, except Langlois' been fighting. He's been pushing. So excellent kudos to him. But nevertheless, it's up to Diaz, Pip, and Mancebo to power this breakaway down the road. It's in Hagman's interest, who is the leader and the king of the mountain, to contribute to this breakaway. Make sure that it gets to the king of the wall so he can do one more time up the wall and win that title. So it's in his interest to find some sort of energy somewhere to power this breakaway to work with Mancebo, Diaz, and Pip in the front. Just the 3 of them working alone with no other help, that's going to make it a difficult deal to close, I think. But coming up from behind, if that second group can bridge up to this 5 in front, then you're going to have a reshuffling of the cards and then another tactical race.
Oh, it is certainly getting interesting, and we should tell folks that this portion of today's race is sponsored by TD Bank, America's most convenient bank, and they are racing through the streets of Philadelphia right now, and the teams are putting their strategy into motion. Whose will work? You got to come on back to find out.
I am so sorry. Let's just think of warm things. My new steak grilled sandwich, piping hot with tender steak, grilled onions, and bourbon barbecue sauce, all covered with hot, melty cheese on grilled artisan bread. Hot, steaky, toasty, melty. This isn't working. I'm just getting hungry. That's working.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
It is an absolutely beautiful day in the city of Philadelphia, high above Boathouse Row, one of the real picturesque parts of this beautiful city. Take a look, gentlemen, our lap and gap. Things have changed. We talked about the 9 minutes and 23 seconds after the 3rd lap with 5 riders out in front, but all of a sudden, John, 8 riders now out in front, but only by about 30 seconds.
30 seconds, but it's 30 seconds towards the end of a very long, hard-fought event. The riders have done close to 120 miles already, so there's a lot of fatigue behind, and there's some daylight behind that breakaway and the chasing group. So Mancebo and Diaz, especially Mancebo, are showing a tremendous amount of power in opening up this gap almost single-handedly, Todd Gogulski.
Yeah, right now on the front, it's still Mancebo, and that man has just been on fire this year, really wreaking havoc around the United States, and he wants to do it here again in Philadelphia.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to bring in a special guest right now to find out exactly what's happening near the front. We're going to bring in Gord Fraser. He's the team director for TeamRealCyclist.com. Gord, things looking pretty good for your guys right now. I imagine you're pretty happy.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. We haven't lost any riders yet. Early break went without us. That wasn't such a big deal because there's only 5 riders, but now Paco's on the offensive. A little bit early maybe for what I prefer, but it shows that he's switched on, and he knows himself better than I do. So, hopefully he's got a little bit of help up there with some fresh guys. I don't know exactly the composition right now, if they're residual guys from the early break or if there's some fresh guys with him. Maybe Diaz from Exergy, and he's shown himself all year of being an incredible rider, and Paco and Diaz go way back doing some races together in South America and stuff. So, could be good for us here at RealCyclist.com. We're pretty excited.
Hey, Gord, it's John Eustice. I don't know if I'm breaking any UCI rules, radio rules, by giving you the composition here, but it is the original 5-man breakaway plus Pip plus Diaz. So there you go. I hope I'm not going to be fined Swiss francs for telling you that.
Well, that means it's essentially a 2 or 3 man break,
yeah,
really.
Exactly.
The 5 guys that been out there all day. They're not going to be of much help. So they'll probably shed him here on the wall this time up. There's only 2 more times up the wall. So I told Paco to be proactive with the race. Hopefully our sprinters can make it into a fairly large group at the end for backup. But I told Paco to go for it and make the race hard. We want to break this year.
Well, we've seen a lot of Paco on the front of this break and Andres Diaz. Those are the 2 guys driving it. Pip took a couple poles, but now he's just sitting in. So you're absolutely right. Your spider sense is working from back there in the caravan. And definitely Paco really driving it hard. I want to mention to you, don't you believe that Paco's sprint is underestimated in the peloton?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's placed well in the sprints this year, but it's more a question of his overall power and positioning our sprinters, and it's kind of a residual results on his sprint. But obviously winning Redlands Bike Classic earlier this year for Real Cyclists in the time bonuses in a sprint situation, I didn't know he possessed that type of power and speed. So, fingers crossed that this break is going to get some good time. And more importantly, I think just the space. So if an elite group of riders comes across, they're going to have to work for it. So it's kind of like even when they get there. But who knows how it's going to react now, if it's going to be a chase for a bunch sprint or elite riders attacking and coming up. I don't know what's going to happen. But, it's better to be up front than behind. So we'll take it. And obviously Paco's a pretty incredible rider. So pretty good, pretty happy here in Real Cyclists in our team car.
All right, it's shaping up very well. Thank you, Gord. We know you got some work to do. We're going to let you go. Thanks for stopping in for a couple minutes. TeamRealCyclist.com, Team Director Gord Frazier joining us right there. His guys are in the thick of things, and interesting, guys, because he said, you know what, the next time up the Manayunk wall, maybe that makes the difference as they go up for the 9th time. Todd, the latest on the chase?
40 seconds now between the 8 leaders and that chase group, which is pretty large. It looks like about 15 guys. Gord's a pretty savvy director. He's got at least 250 wins to his career, and he's probably right. These guys are going to light it up on the wall this time, and we're going to see a lot of shrapnel coming out of this breakaway.
That's Diaz working on the front, giving Paco Mancebo a hand, but you've got to say, Todd, Mancebo's performance here, opening up 40 seconds almost single-handedly, is one of the most extraordinary things I've seen in this race in all the years I've done it. That's real Tour de France level, big-time power.
So the question I would ask is, can he keep it up, Todd?
That's a good question.
You know what? I've been at several races that he's won earlier this year, and the guy was unbelievably strong. And I do not think that he's in touch with his body. He knows what he can do. I do not think he's overselling himself right now. I think the one guy he's got to worry about is Andres Diaz, that Colombian there, because that guy's got a good sprint.
Yeah, and we're going to see the next time up the wall. Has Mancebo, the question right now, has he destroyed himself by doing all of this work through the wind on the flats? And will he have gas left in the tank for this 9th time, up the Manayunk wall? He certainly is putting it out there. Nothing's being held back, and there's complete and total daylight between him and the rest of the field. They're nowhere. 45 seconds, the gap is going up.
They're starting to pull away.
What a performance. What a performance.
And as Gord mentioned, really this is a two-man breakaway in essence, because 5 of these guys have been in this the entire race, and it's hard to believe that they'll be able to keep that up. So setting themselves up well as they come through Manayunk, and time number 9 up the wall could be a big difference.
And it's really tough to get up the wall with speed after you've been on the front drilling it like this in the wind. And so we got to keep a camera right on these guys this time up the wall, because we're going to see some action.
Yeah, and you know who's really has the best ride in this whole deal is Frank Pip. Frank Pip went with Diaz of the Bissell team, went with Diaz and Mancebo to the front, has not done a lick of work.
Yeah.
And so he's the one, he's the freshest one, and he's the fastest one.
That's Smart right. And savvy is him. Mr. Pip as they head up the wall for the 9th time. Guys, take us through what the strategy is right now for this lead group.
Strategy is get over that wall as fast as you can and hold on. Now what's going to happen? There he goes, Mancebo. Now, this is going to be the real test. After everything he's done, after the Herculean efforts that he's just put out, he sure looks like he's still strong to me, Todd.
Ooh, he sure does. Diaz right on him. And remember, this is not the steepest part of the wall, but look at that group. It's already coming unglued.
Kaboom!
So it looks like a bunch of guys being dropped. Langlois is there. Pip is there. and it's Diaz and Mancebo, so we're down to 4.
I tell you, the hero of the day for me is Steve Bauer's rider, Bruno Langlois. He's been in the breakaway all day. He's holding on, and he's holding on to the wall with Mancebo right now. If Langlois can make it over the wall this time, that is truly a heroic effort on the part of the young, powerful French-Canadian, the Quebecois.
4 hours and 50 minutes into the grind, and they still have over an hour to go before it's all said and done. But only one more time will we see these guys going up and over the Manayunk wall as they approach the top. The fans are 6 deep on both sides, cheering these men on. Wow,
and
what an effort.
Yeah, 9th time up the wall, almost 5 hours. It's hard 5 hours sitting in your office, let alone out here.
Now look at that. So you have Mancebo in the front in the orange and white divided. Pip on the right in the red and the Bissell. On the left, you have Diaz. And behind, still holding on in the light blue of the Spider Tech team, that is Bruno Langlois. What a ride for him. Steve Bauer told me about him, and he was, as always, completely right on the money. Now behind comes, that is our chase group from behind. They're about 40 seconds behind on the wall. These men who are in front going with everything they have.
Just all kinds of pain going through your body at this point.
Chase
everything group hurting in your body, and you just try and take some of that energy from the crowd to help you get to the top with some speed. Look at this, Diaz looking back over his shoulder. He's actually dropped him, put a little bit of daylight in between himself and the rest.
Well, Mancebo did all the work, so that's just absolutely normal. Little tilt of the head on Diaz's part, and Mancebo takes the front again. Langlois, right there, is our hero, my hero certainly, in the back there. Number 35, what a ride he's done. Bruno Langlois out in front the entire day, and Mancebo on the front where he's been for the entire last lap. Shows no sign of weakening. With a kind of a locomotive like that on the front of this race, that breakaway has a chance of making it all the way to the finish, Todd.
Yeah, big time.
And we should point out that at this point of the race, as they head back down the hill on the other side, the upward speeds of upwards 50 miles per hour, right?
Oh,
I mean, these guys are moving right now.
The fall from the wall is hold on to your handlebars because it's bumpy and you're just bouncing around as you just blitz down the hill.
And here is the second group behind. They've just crested the wall. I see another one of Steve Bauer's riders there. I see a Team Type 1 rider and another Exergy rider. Wow, what a great ride by that team.
No kidding. That's Bazzana for Team Type 1 on the front.
All right, they're not stopping at stop signs right now. The fall from the wall for the 9th time here at the TD Bank International Cycling Championships here in Philadelphia. We're coming back with more coverage right here on Comcast Sportsnet, so don't go anywhere. CSNPhilly.com is the home of Philly sports, your one stop for the latest on the Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Union, and Eagles. Get total 24/7 coverage from the most experienced team insiders only on CSNPhilly.com. No matter where you live, CSNPhilly.com lives Philly sports. As we take a look high above the ball fields in Fairmount Park here in Philadelphia. Just a couple minutes ago, Lisa Hillary caught up with the mayor of Philadelphia, Mr. Michael Nutter.
Well, another terrific day, and so far so good with that rain.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. 27 straight years. We don't want to jinx ourselves, but so far so good. For the riders, it's great that it's overcast. Virtually no humidity out here, and estimated top temperature maybe 80 degrees. 2 years ago, it felt like it was about 100 out here first thing in the morning. So it's very, very good for the riders. We want to encourage folks to come out, have a great time. The Parkway is just going to be a blast later on today. Manayunk is always a blast, no matter what time. But it's a fantastic race, the largest race of its kind in the country. Top cyclists from around the world here, men and women. This is a great event for Philadelphia, again, reestablishing our presence on the international scene. We want to continue it and grow it in both the men's and women's classifications. I think there are a lot of things that we can do to really make this the kind of race that Philadelphia and the country would really be proud of. And we're proud of it now. I think there's more we can do.
And just in terms of the volunteers and all the people that put so much effort into such an event like this, and to put it on so seamlessly.
Well, the level of coordination that goes into this really is incredible. And for that, all the credit really goes to to both the race guys, Dave and Jerry, and then, of course, the public employees of the city of Philadelphia. Police, fire, the park service, EMS, all of our special events coordinators, they really make this go very, very well. And the citizens look forward to this race. I mean, people know as it builds up to that first weekend in June, when they start seeing the different activity on the Parkway. And the one thing we say about the Parkway, it's fast and flat. And that also really helps the riders, and they really enjoy taking those loops around. And then out through the largest urban park in the United States of America, through our beautiful Fairmount Park, up into the hills of Manayunk, and folks up there love it as well. And then sometime later on today, they'll be back and right on the Parkway, and we expect an exciting finish.
Well, you enjoy your day. Thanks so much, Mayor, for doing this. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Way to go.
All right, Murph, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. Mr. Michael Nutter, the mayor of Philadelphia, he has embraced this ride ever since taking office in Philadelphia, and why not? What it does for the city of Philadelphia, it's so great. So many people in town this week to be a part of what is shaping up, guys, to be one heck of a finish in the 27th Philadelphia International Cycling Championships.
Well, this one is far from settled today, as we've seen just in about the last 30 minutes. The dynamic has completely changed. We now have some fresher legs up in the breakaway, but you just saw there the field very much knowing that they need to get it into high gear to bring back that move, or they're never going to see him again.
Right here, we have a shot which looks to be with number 75 on there. Is this our front? This looks to be our front group.
Yep, it is.
This is our front group. So they're still away after the break with the man. There's Mansebo on the front, drilling this break like he has from the top of the Manayunk wall. They've shedded their extra, the original breakaway riders. They're down to 4 riders. The sole unique remaining rider of the original breakaway is sitting on the back there, Bruno Langlois of the Spider Tech team, Frank Pipp following him. And the only 2 men who seem to be working are Mansebo and Diaz, number 175. And that is a Spaniard and a Colombian drilling it on the front of the TD Bank Philadelphia Championship race. Pipp again, he's sitting pretty.
Yeah, Pipp is definitely in a good spot here because he's a real true sprinter type, a field sprinter. So from a break, he'd be very potent. But also noticing there, all the guys getting food in the system right now. Remember, they're 5 hours into this baby, and they still got about an hour to go. So you got to keep those calories coming through. There's Gord Fraser, the man we were just talking with for RealCyclist.com, as he's up there giving bottles to his team leader and the big engine in the breakaway.
Let me ask you a question, Todd. What do you think? Frank Pipp is sitting in 3rd place there in his red jersey, not contributing a lick of work to this breakaway. Tactically astute or tactically wrong? Because if he worked, he would help ensure the success of this breakaway. Langlois, he's been out in front all day. If he does anything at all, look at the screen. Oh, he's screaming about the motorcycle. Doesn't like the motorcycle being so close to the breakaway. Well, that's all right. You can't get so excited, young fellow. It's just bike racing.
Well,
come on now.
But Langlois, he's been out there all day. His legs are dead, and he doesn't want to go to the line with these guys because they're going to beat him. He wants Lacombe, who's his teammate back in the field, to catch these guys and have a chance for a field sprint.
But should Pipp work? Should Pipp actually say, I've got strength, I've got speed, if I work, I can get to the finish, because he's the fastest sprinter of these 4. Is it a mistake for Pipp not to work? What do you think?
Well, we're getting a little bit of differing information. We've heard the gap may be a minute 10 back to the field, but we're also hearing they're pulling some of the cars out in between, so that would mean it was less. And what it tells me is that Pipp is concerned that he's going to get dropped on the wall if he pulls. If he works, the last time up the wall, he's afraid he's going to get his ticket punched, and then he's no good to anybody. So he's got to get over the wall, and then maybe he'll start rotating.
That's an excellent tactic. Excellent. Well, that's the way a bicycle racer thinks. You use your opposition as much as you can. And here we have an attack out in the field.
Yeah, that's Hagman, who or Hagman going back from the break, or one of his teammates going up from the field.
But you use your opposition or your competitors to your own advantage as best you can within the race, and then you pull out the knives, as we talked about before.
Yes, the knives are starting to come out, so watch your back. Hey, guys, let's reset where we are right about now. We are at lap 12 which is the 9th lap of the large lap. So they've been up the wall 9 times. They still have to do it one more time. They're heading back right now to the Ben Franklin Parkway where they'll whip around Logan Circle and around Eakins Oval. They'll cross that start-finish line again, and then it's back at it for the lap 13, which is the 10th large lap, and then it all shortens down for the quick sprint to the finish as well. We're 5 hours and 2 minutes into this race. We talked about the temperatures not being real oppressive. At this point, Todd, do you get a feel that maybe we're in for maybe a record-setting kind of time today? Not yet, huh?
I wouldn't say
that was a pregnant pause.
We have 23 miles to go, plus about 25 miles to go. We could be close, but it would have to be about, I think the fastest time was 5:52.
I think it was low 5:50s,
Yeah, I don't believe we're going to have a record time.
I don't think they're going to make it.
But a fast time, absolutely a fast time.
It is something that people like to talk about, the fastest time, the record time. But bike racing, we've seen this unfolding. It's so tactical that the time is not what's important. What's important is who the first guy across the line is. Because there could be this tactical game where this breakaway wasn't off the front and the pace was slower. And yet it's still at the end, it's going to come down to a vicious battle for the win. So the overall time of the race is not what's so important as who gets to the finish line first.
Absolutely, as they once again attack Lemon Hill. They'll have to do this 4 more times, gentlemen, once they get through this. And, you know, Lemon Hill is no picnic, as I mentioned earlier, as well as the fans have turned out to cheer these guys on. The fans there on Lemon Hill, they know what they're seeing. These guys they're in tune to cycling, and they know they've seen something pretty special so far.
No, this is terrific, and Lemon Hill is where you go if you're a cycling fan. You bring your picnic, the friends are there, it's their barbecues, a lot of bike shops and bike companies have set up stands, giving out free samples and showing off their eye candy, their new wear, as we call them. So it's really a fun part. You see the race, you see the real tactical moments of the race, and now the fans on Lemon Hill can see these 4 riders in front. Yeah. They can measure the time to the breakaway behind and then to the field again. So it's a real Grand Cru, a real great edition of this Philadelphia race. One of the best we've had in years. It's hard fought, it's passionate, it's dynamic, and we still don't know what's going to happen.
And we saw a couple of the leaders question, and here is the peloton now, or the chasing group, I guess I should say, heading up Lemon Hill. So you kind of do get a feel for just how far behind they are. Probably about that minute that you guys said.
Yeah, they're not real far, and let's face it, if all 4 of these guys are working and only 2 guys are working up front, these guys may mow them down, and we may have yet another bit of a reset out here. So we'll see how cooperative this group is.
I believe that's Rushkin, the Ukrainian on the big Ukrainian powerhouse on the Amore Vita team, my old alma mater. The oldest professional racing team still in existence. So that man is barreling towards, I believe that is our chase group, our second group. Yes, it's our chase group. So the big Ukrainian, he's a motorcycle in his own right. So he's doing what he can to bridge this gap, to pull his other 3 breakaway companions up to the front. So there they are, Wishkin, and we'll have to get the numbers on the rest of the riders in that break. But again, this is what you want in racing. Now here come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. So the race really coming to pieces. The field splitting, recatching, reforming, resplitting. This race is on.
And the noise you hear in the background are our leaders heading down the Ben Franklin Parkway. Once again, the fans here that are lining the parkway showing their appreciation. 1, 2, 3, 4 men in that lead group as they head down the parkway. And our chase group, as we told you, not all that far behind.
And they just got absorbed by a bunch of guys that were chasing behind them. So this breakaway, honestly, I don't know that someone from that group is going to win the race. It's close enough now that it could still come back together.
4 men in that breakaway. They are our leaders right now. Can they hold it? Well, that remains to be seen. We're 5 hours plus in, and we're coming right back. The TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championship is brought to you by your Philadelphia Tri-State Cadillac dealers and by Luke Oil. At Luke Oil, we love cars, and we thank you for starting your road trip with us. High above the city of Philadelphia, 27th running of the Philadelphia International Cycling Championships, and we are approaching near the finish. About an hour left in this race, and our last lap was one of our fastest yet. About 31 minutes for our leaders. Tomorrow night on Comcast Sportsnet, get ready for Cliff Lee's outing against the Dodgers with analysis from former Phillies catcher Chris Coast on Phillies pregame live. Tomorrow night at 6:30 only on Comcast Sportsnet. Gregg Murphy alongside John Eustice and Todd Gogulski. Eric Wahlberg is out there on the course. Lisa Hillary out there with the fans. And gentlemen, the chase is on for our leaders as they head back out on the Ben Franklin Parkway.
Situation on the road right now, about a minute 15 ahead. 4 men being powered along by the great Spaniard Paco Mancebo, Diaz, the Colombian from Real Cyclist, and Bruno Langlois from the Spider Tech team sitting on getting a free ride. Frank Pipp of the Bissell team. Behind them, a minute 15, the field is being organized at the front by the 2 big teams of the race. They've been waiting to the end for the right moment to do it, and now High Road and HTC High Road and Liquigas at the front of the field chasing these men who are in front. The race is on. About 50 minutes of racing to go, Todd. It's nobody's bike race yet. It's going to be quite a show from here on out.
Yeah, it's far from over, and on the front of the field that last time through the finish line, the start-finish line here, was Peter Sagan's brother on the front doing the work. Talk about motivation. When you have a brother who's a great sprinter, you'll do a lot of work to try and pull back that lead group of 4.
Number 87 from our team from Hong Kong, and that is Wu. Kinsan Wu from Hong Kong, one of the a sign of the emerging power of Asian cycling, being sponsored by the Champion System cycling team. Champion System's a jersey, a clothing manufacturer, and a bicycle manufacturer, bringing international flair to this bicycle race. And young Wu showing indeed that Chinese cycling is powerful and valid with his attack here on the front, trying to chase the breakaway down. But good for him.
And Wu is actually a really true consummate professional for a young guy. He really takes his job seriously. He eats right, he sleeps right, he dots his I's, he crosses his T's. He's a real detail guy, and that'll get you someplace in a sport as tough as this, because these guys do a lot of traveling across the globe, and you gotta pay attention to those details for your recovery.
Yeah, that'll get you far in just about anything you do if you have those kind of attributes, and certainly if you're a high caliber athlete, as each and every man and woman out there on the course today is. Yeah, that's going to serve you well, no doubt about it.
And not to ignore number 115 of the Jelly Belly team, who've had an excellent race today. Number 1, Sean Matzik of the Jelly Belly team, a big, strong rider, and he and Wu trying to bridge that gap to glory between the field and the breakaway in front. And there's a beautiful helicopter shot of our breakaway flying low across the Schuylkill River. I only thought the French were allowed to fly that low.
I'll tell you what, we have 16 cameras on the ground and in the air, and one of them on the back of a motorcycle, and that's where we find 3-time Canadian Olympian Eric Wahlberg. Eric, what's going on?
Hey, John and Todd and guys. The break is really being driven by 2 riders right now, Francisco Pasebo and the Diaz rider from Exergy. Pip is sitting on. Langlois is hanging on for absolute grim death right now. I'm hoping Bruno can make it up the climb this time, but it's going to be very, very tough. But this is good for the break. If they can get over the hill this time and be clear, it's going to be real good for them. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute fight from the field. So we'll see what shakes up over the top of the climb this time from the group.
Well,
back to you.
So Eric, being that you're a Canadian, you're pulling hard for Langlois to hang in there, huh?
Having a great day out here, but Mancebo's riding so fast on the flats right now, and the wind's starting to come up. So when you see a guy starting to struggle on the flats here in the wind, you know his time might be up this time on the hill, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. The break's looking good right now. That new bunch of 3 guys coming up is definitely.
I think we just, Eric's cutting in and out, of course. Hey, it's not easy to talk when you're flying on the back of a motorcycle. This is the freshest Eric's ever looked at this point of the race. He's looking pretty good out there.
For his 6th edition, he's looking pretty darn good.
He is certainly. Eric Wahlberg, thanks for joining us out there on the race course. We'll check back in with him as we get closer to the finish, as we take a look at the terrific shots from our helicopter, taking a look at our 4 leaders still as they head back out towards Manayunk, and for their final time, the climb on the Manayunk Wall.
That is Diaz still powering that break. It's good for Mancebo that he found a willing partner in this breakaway move like that, and the 2 of them I have an idea, spoke before the race and planned this, and that is, again, cycling is alliances, political alliances. Politics make strange bedfellows, and that certainly applies to bicycle racing. So our two Spanish-speaking athletes waving each other on. There's a good shot. You see the two of them switching, but the two guys in the back not going through. That's called sitting on. Pip not taking a pull. Langlois should not take a pull. He's holding on for dear life. He's already done an extraordinary race. Anything else would be gravy. So our two Spaniards, our Spaniards and our Colombian, driving this race, and there's still nobody in sight. If they can make it over the wall, that's going to be very important for them, because if they do make it over the wall, even if behind, the field splits, riders might come up to them and help them get to the finish. So their goal, make it to the wall, get over the wall, and hope that not too many riders come up from behind. Still allow them a chance to win this bicycle race.
I'm keeping my eyes on Pip at this point because, John, as you guys have both pointed out, he hasn't worked real hard in this race, but you know what? That may be the smartest thing that anyone's done so far today. That remains to be seen if he can make it, can kick it at the end.
And the longer he sits on and gets that draft and saves all that energy, working 1/3 less hard than the guy on the front, the stronger he gets in relation to them. And so definitely Diaz and Mancebo are going to have to be thinking this time up the wall, can we get rid of this guy? Because if we pull him to the finish line, he's going to use us for traction.
And, you know, it's funny, I talked to their team director. I was coming to the hotel getting ready for the event, and he came up to me and started talking to me about this team with such confidence, with such a surety that he was convinced that this team was going to perform today. And I thought, you know, I don't know much about your team, but I'm going to pay attention. You know what? Here's the result. Good for him.
Yeah, the proof's out there on the road, isn't it?
It certainly is.
They are certainly working hard right now. They are about, about 130 miles now into this race, roughly. And, you know, they've got to finish it all. They've got to finish the 156 miles when it's all said and done. But a lot of work still to be done, but certainly a lot of work already in those legs. And you know what? This might be a refreshing thought, perhaps, for these guys out on the race. Certainly it is for me, as I tell you that it's our Philly.com factoid, and it is Beer Week, gentlemen. Beer Week in Philadelphia. Beer fans can quench their thirst during Philly Beer Week. 10 days devoted to all things beer with special dinners, tours, pub crawls, tastings, meet the brewer nights, and more at area bars, restaurants, and other hot spots around the region. That's now through June 12th. Just call 215-985-2106 or log on to phillybeerweek.org. For all the, anyone got a computer? Can we log on and find out if they deliver? That would be nice, wouldn't it?
What I can tell you is Manioc had a head start on Philadelphia Beer Week.
Yes, they're leading the charge.
They are really in the breakaway.
They were
drilling it down on the front.
Hey, they're working hard there on the hills of Manioc.
They really are.
Whether or not you're on the bike or on the sidelines, everybody working hard today and working to make this one truly terrific event.
Very interesting. The man standing out of the sunroof is the commissar for people. We call it the jury, the judge, the umpire, the commissar, of many French terms involved in bicycle racing. And one of the rules stipulate in bicycle racing that the car for the commissar, you see it written on there, has to have a sunroof, so that the commissar can stand out of the car and watch the race and get a perfect view of what's going on in it. So that is a little bit of cycling trivia, and part of the special, unique characteristics of the race. What I will also notice, taking a look at that shot, is nobody's still in sight. These guys are going to make it over the wall. Things are going to get interesting, and I really hope we get a good shot of what's going to happen. The carnage is going to happen behind the field chasing, because that's going to be the race.
You know what I noticed? The commissar needs some glasses, because he's going 29, 30 miles an hour with his head out of the sunroof, and he's squinting as the wind is just buffeting his face.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't eat a bug or two. That certainly wouldn't be good. Right now, the leaders are on Kelly Drive, as is the Chase group, and they are about to head into Manioc. So we're going to take a quick break, because when we get back, we're going to see the final climb of the Manioc wall. Will it make a difference in this race? It probably will. 5 hours and 18 minutes in, and we still got a lot to do. We're coming right back. Welcome back to the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships, the 27th time this race has gone through the streets of Philadelphia. Tonight on Sports Night, get all the highlights of the Philadelphia International Cycling Championship, plus recap and analysis of Roy Halladay's outing against the Pirates. Get all the news Philly fans need to know on Sports Night tonight at 6 and 10, only here on Comcast Sportsnet. There are your leaders, gentlemen, as they head into Manayunk for what will be the final time this afternoon.
Coming up the road, that is Diaz and Mancebo. This is the most important part of the race for them. Are they going to have the strength to keep speed up over the Manayunk wall? Will Pip be able to stay with them? And if so, will he decide, if they make it over the wall, will he decide to work or not? Because behind, he's got Kyle Walmsley, a young man, his teammate, as you said, who's just 5th, I believe, in the professional national championships in Greenville on a very tough course. So he was right there in the sprint behind the leading 3 of Hincapie and Boucher.
Yep.
So he's there, he's on forms, and maybe Pip is there to control Mancebo in favor of absolutely his young teammate Walmsley, who's due for the big win. So coming up to the hill, this is going to be fascinating. What has Mancebo got left? The leg at this point in the race, the legs are cramping, everything's cramping, your arms are cramping, your hair is cramping. It's very, very difficult. And so Mancebo, he's got some power. You can see the power in his legs.
Unbelievable.
Pip is getting written off. No, he's not. He's holding on, Pip. Can Pip hold on? Can Langlois hold on? This is a big thing to see.
Yeah, it looked like Pip was starting to open up that little bit of a gap, but now it's really just this. You have to have that iron will at this point. Look at Langlois coming around Pip. He says if Pip comes off, I'm staying.
Pip's cooked. Look at the gear, reaching for the gear. He's messing with his gears. Once that happens, that means that you're in trouble. Mancebo popping over the top. He wants to get rid of that sprinter. Pip is gone. Pip blew it. Going sideways.
Wow.
Going sideways. That's a rider who's cooked. Now we know why he couldn't work. He didn't have the power. Mancebo sees it. He's gotten rid of the sprinter. But look at Langlois. What a heroic ride by this young Canadian. For me, it's the ride of the bike race, bar none. Come on, young fella. Hold on. You're almost there.
Oh, and he's in trouble as well. But look at him. He still has a pretty good leg speed. He's going to make it up this climb again. But Pip, it looks like he is done.
He went sideways. Langlois, courageous, strong. That's the result of Steve Bauer's tremendous European campaign, taking these young Canadians all over Europe, teaching him his craft, and now they've come back with that deep European strength, and that is a rider with a brilliant, brilliant future.
So at the 5-hour and 23-minute mark, we have now 3 leaders and a group of men determined to catch them. Can they do it? Remains to be seen, as these 3 will now go to the fall on the wall as the chase group, which is significant in size, gentlemen, back up the Manayunk wall for the final time for them.
I don't know if they're going to make it. That field's gotten close. The field's gotten close, a little too close for comfort. With 7, with the amount of time left, there's an attack on the wall.
This is Pure Black Racing out of New Zealand. These guys have really targeted Philly.
Look at that, all by himself, so he's doing all the work.
Now he's bombing up the hill. It would be much better for this rider from the Pure Black team to have some teammates or other strong riders with him, because over the wall, on that downhill, on those long finishing straights back into Philadelphia Center City by yourself, it's going to be impossible. There are 3 laps of 9 miles left once they arrive in Center City, and about another 5 miles back from the top of the wall. So you have about 14 miles left to the end of the race, and Mancebo is a leaderboard, therealcyclist.com, Diaz, Corral, Team Exergy, and Bruno Langlois. These are our leaders over the top of the race right now, and can they make it to the finish, Todd?
Our leaderboard brought to you by TD Bank, and Todd, it's a good question. Can they get there?
You know what? I honestly cannot tell. It's just been really dynamic the last 45 minutes or hour of this bike race. Certainly Diaz and Mancebo both showing they have really good legs. Diaz riding very hard as well with this trio of riders. But let's face it, those teams back in the field that have missed this move, they're going to put as many guys on the front as they can. They're going to try and get other teams to work with them and say, look, the race is up the road. If we don't work together, we're riding for 4th. Who wants that?
No, it's going to have Liquigas is going to hit the front. HTC, High Road is going to hit the front. You're going to have Kelly Benefits are going to be in there. V Australia, we haven't heard anything from them. They have a tremendously powerful rider, if he's still in there, in Johnny Cantwell. Sutter Home, they have the Borajo brothers, those crazy fast sprinting Argentinians. There's a lot of horsepower. Team United Healthcare. They did all that work in the beginning of the race. They missed the boat. They missed the train. They've got some really fast sprinters. Carl Menzies, number 56. Watch for Menzies. He's so strong, he's known as 10 Menzies. in the That's his nickname, 10 Menzies. A big, if you ever saw a big, strong man, that's him. A lot of horsepower back there in the field, and they're going to smell the finish line, and they're going to light it up. I don't know if this breakaway is going to make it. They're brave, they're courageous, they're strong, but they needed another 2 or 3 strong riders to go with them in order for this thing to succeed.
The fall from the wall, they're going about 55 miles per hour when they're doing that. They'll then get back onto Kelly Drive and start heading back towards Center City. They'll head out Reservoir Drive, then connect back up with Kelly Drive, then through Lemon Hill. And then, guys, it's a sprint from there. It's 3 short laps will be the end of this race. So we're getting close to that time. And then you guys said that it'll take about 20 minutes or so once they hit Lemon Hill for the final time.
About a half hour of racing left in this edition, the 27th edition of this great, wonderful championship in Philadelphia, and it's been a passionate one. And you can thank Paco Mancebo for igniting this race and giving us so much to look at, as well as his breakaway companion, Bruno Langlois, this terrific young Canadian hero. But the race is really getting going now, and behind all these sprinters who've made it over the wall this one last time, they're all believing. They're all believing that it's their day. And you know, the sprinters, they're the tenors of cycling. They have the egos. They're the ones that they're the stars. They know they're the stars, and now they're screaming at their teammates, go, get me to the front, catch this breakaway, I'm going to win today. They're all banging on the table. You know what sprinters are like.
They're banging on the table now, but a little bit later they'll be banging on each other's handlebars and pushing and shoving because it is extremely physical when it comes into the sprint. This is back to our lead trio. The pure black racing man we saw rocketing from the front of the field was Scott Little, the New Zealand rider. So he is back by himself, chasing in no man's land. Nobody to trade pace with. That's going to be a tough day. You can see Langlois there actually taking a bottle from the neutral support car. Mavic, they'll support any rider in the bike race.
Well, it is certainly coming down to crunch time. How will this finish? I don't know. You got to stay around and find out. We're coming right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to our coverage of the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships here on Comcast Sportsnet. Greg Murphy alongside John Eustice, Todd Gogulski, Eric Wahlberg out there on the course, Lisa Hillary out there as well. Gentlemen, what are we looking at right now? Is this the trio of leaders, or are these the guys that have broken away to try and chase?
This is a group in between our trio of leaders and the peloton. And when we saw our young rider from the pure black team out of New Zealand, Scott Little, he went on his own. We thought it's too early for him to go on his own. He's going to need help. And sure enough, up from behind came 4 riders, but there, ominously behind, is the looming field of sprinters, the hungry, the shark pack. They're coming down the road. So these 4 men are trying to bridge the gap to get away from the field and close it down on the trio in front. But this field, Todd, it is coming.
Well, just a moment ago, I got an update on the gap from the breakaway. These 3 back to the field, 1 minute, 10 seconds. So once again, they're holding that gap pretty steady. The field has not gained on them, but still, they've got about 12 miles to race, and a lot can happen in 12 miles.
Are you surprised, John, that that gap has not closed with these guys that have been out in front for so long?
I think the field is probably controlling for the moment, because 12 miles with a minute 20, did you say?
A minute 10.
A minute 10. 10 seconds a mile, you know, they can close that pretty quickly. That's not so hard for a big Pro Tour field at all. So I think they're holding them out there. The teams in the back in the field with the sprinters, they're all waiting. They're all playing a bit of a chess game, waiting for the moment to launch their trains. And if you're new to cycling, a train is if you're a sprinter, you line 3 or 4 or 5 of your teammates out in front of you, and you're like the caboose on the train, or like the booster rocket in a missile.
Yeah.
You are just pulled along, and each one of them peels off and launches you to the finish line. When you launch that train, how far from the finish line you launch the train is all part of the tactic, and that's what they're all waiting for. They know they can get this group. They think they can get this group, and they're all, Liquigas is looking at HTC, who are looking at United Healthcare. They're all looking at each other, waiting for the moment to bang, hit it.
Someone is going to have to bust the move, and it's going to happen pretty soon, but this is the most exhausting chess match that you'll ever be involved in. All right, this portion of today's race is sponsored by your Philadelphia Tri-State Cadillac. dealers. And 5:32 and counting into the 27th running of the International Cycling Championships here in Philadelphia. We have a lead group of 3 men, we have a chase group of 4, and then the field right behind them. So this thing is far from over as we head back towards Center City for the very final time, and then it's the 3 short laps through Lemon Hill and Eakins Oval and Logan Square to end it all up. And it still remains to be seen whether or not we're going to have a pack sprint for the finish.
So you have 3 riders chasing 3 riders. One of the trio that was stuck in between the field and the lead group has been popped off the back. And so we'll have to get some identification of who those 3 riders are in front, who are sandwiched in between the front. We know those. And the ones
144 there.
That's Little on the back there. He's the pure black racer guy. And
Jesse Anthony, Kelly Benefits.
And Anthony has actually been riding very well this year. He's a multi-time national champion in cyclocross.
And that's a good one. The big kid with the nice pedal action. That is Alex Howes.
Well, Howes had a fantastic,
that's a good rider.
A fantastic win at the really big mountain day at the Tour of Utah a couple of years ago. This is a group that's got some horsepower, and they're all riding together.
That Alex Howes, he's part of the Garmin Tour de France team. The Garmin, this is their farm team. And the young, developing riders have been brought up. We talked before after the Lance Armstrong story with this new, fresh cycling we've been developing in the United States. Well, that is a perfect example of that. These are ethical teams that are raised and managed in a way that ensures the health of the riders. And Alex Howes is a perfect example of that. And for him to be in front, look at him, nice big kid, strong, going for it, knowing that this is his moment in time. Chipotle development team, the farm team for the Garmin Tour de France team. So these guys are really going for it. And this is a nice collection of bike riders, Todd.
Yeah.
This is the sprinters back in the field must be biting their nails that they let these 3 escape.
Well, right now, Anthony coming through in the yellow shoes. He just came back from France, where he was 4th in a stage of the Tour of Brittany. He's also 2nd earlier this year in the Tour of Battenkill, which is a real hard man's one-day race with a lot of dirt in it as well.
Great race, that race. New York race.
And he's very much been very good as of late. Last year at the Pro Championship, he was in the day-long breakaway, did a ton of work, so he's obviously feeling a little frisky today.
And obviously these guys working together right now, because I guess that's the only way that you can get to our front trio, right? You have to work together, and then all bets are off.
All bets are off. They all know. We have a chance to win the race. We have nothing to lose. There's no cat and mouse is going to help anybody. If you got something, you put it out there. Now's not the time to be coy. Now's the time to go for it.
Our leaders now approaching Lemon Hill and then starting up the ascent of Lemon Hill. And then they'll come down the other side and then back down here to the Parkway. And the Parkway has really started to fill up. The fans are lining the street here at Ben Franklin Parkway. So certainly the racers will hear it. And look at that. Look at the crowd out there at Lemon Hill.
Lemon Hill's the best. When I retire from the booth, I'm going to Lemon Hill, not Disneyland.
I'll join you there.
Lemon Hill. That's where I'm going.
And it is no easy ride up Lemon Hill. It's obviously shorter than the Manioc Wall, but you got to get to the top and then back down the other side. And then they'll come back down, as I mentioned, down the Parkway and do it 3 more times until we crown a champion in the 27th Philadelphia International Cycling Championship. It is shaping up to be a special day. And yeah, here is our chase group right now.
And this is the beauty of this race. Lemon Hill, these circuits, the length of this race. This would not be the same race if it were a shorter race. You need the 250 kilometers, the 156 miles to break open this race, to really allow the true value of the great champions to come out. You need this distance, you need this hill, you need the 3 laps of Lemon Hill, you need the 10 laps of the Manioc Wall. This is what makes this Philadelphia race one of the great events of the world.
And as Howes comes off the front, as he drilled it up Lemon Hill, now Jesse Anthony on the front as they descend back down. 35 seconds between them and the lead group of 3. So we may have a group of 6 here momentarily.
And that's exactly what Mancebo and Diaz and Langlois. I can't believe he's still there, Langlois.
I can't either. Huh? All day long.
Listen, if you're a bike rider, you know what he's been through. And Todd, that's some bike ride.
He's been through some stuff you can't talk about on air.
No, we cannot. We cannot.
We can only imagine.
But we can only really give him a major respect, because that's quite a bike ride. Anyway, here we are. This race is heating up, coming down to the finish. 3 being chased by 3, being chased by a pack of sharks called sprinters.
Let's just say that Langlois has looked deeper inside himself today than he probably ever has in a day in his life.
I would agree with that. As they come down the Ben Franklin Parkway for one final time on the large lap, we've got 3 small laps still to go. We're coming back, and we'll crown a champion. Stay where you are. We welcome you back, and a reminder, CSNPhilly.com is your home for Philly sports, your one-stop for the latest on the Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, Union, and Eagles. Get total 24/7 coverage from the most experienced team of insiders only on CSNPhilly.com. No matter where you live, CSNPhilly.com lives Philly sports. Welcome back. Gregg Murphy alongside John Eustice and Todd Gogulski, and guys, 9 miles to go in the 27th running of the cycling championships here in Philadelphia. 3 men out in front, 3 men chasing them, and then the pack. John Eustice, where do we stand, and where do we go from here?
We stand on the edge of a nail-biting finish. These 3 men are desperately trying to keep their lead. They've got a minute on the chasing field, which is, Todd, maybe enough time to make it. You got Diaz burying himself. You have Mancebo burying himself. And there's the Liquigas team nailing it behind, a minute behind. Nailing it on the hill. Peter Sagan is in there. Also from the HTC High Road team, I saw Lee Howard is in there. Lee Howard has the distance in his legs. He can do this sprint. So the sprinters are back there. They're hungry, but a minute lies between them and a victory, and that minute is being held by this man, basically, Paco Mancebo, if you want to say it in proper Spanish, is just showing why he was in the Tour, such a strong rider in the Tour de France for all these years. That's real power, Todd.
Well, remember, Paco Mancebo racing in the United States right now, but he's been a Spanish national road champion. He's been 5 times in the top 10 in the Tour de France, including 4th overall, his best year. And that's a 21-day race. And another 21-day race, the Vuelta a España in his native country, he's been 3rd overall on 2 occasions.
So what you're saying, guys, is he's no slouch, and there's a reason he's in front of this championship race.
So he's down to about 7 miles to go in the bike race. Each one of these miles they're counting off takes them ever closer. Field 55 seconds. They've only closed 5 seconds on that lap.
Is that enough?
We don't know. It's coming down. The field gets closer and closer, and it goes faster and faster. That's what it is. You saw the Liquigas mast at the front, right here on the right side of our screen. The 3 groups of chasers. The chasers, which is Alex Howes. What a wonderful ride for this young rider. Jesse Anthony, great rider from the Kelly Benefits Optum Health team, as well as our
Scott Little there.
Scott Little, excuse me, I lost him there. Scott Little from the Pure Black Racing team. They're holding on. They're doing a terrific job out there as well. So, 4:45 hours, 45 minutes, and 51 seconds was the fastest ever.
That's our fastest. That's a record time. Guys, we're approaching that. We may not get there, but certainly we're approaching it. But you see, with Matthew Goss last year, 6 hours and 15 minutes are going to blow that time away.
Yeah, that was the slowest ever.
Yeah.
And latest time gap, 35 seconds between this group of 3 and the 3 chasers. And the field's only 10 seconds further back. So now it's 45 seconds.
So just like that, 10 seconds they made up.
I hate to say it. I think advantage Peloton right now. I think it's going to come back together.
And you know who's doing a lot of work at the front? United Healthcare. United Healthcare believing in their chances. They've been at the front, pulling this Peloton along from the beginning of the race, doing the hard work. They obviously very much believe in their sprinters. Carl Menzies. And Boy Van Poppel is another, a great rider from that team, a Dutchman.
This portion of today's race is sponsored by Luke Oil. At Luke Oil, we love cars, and we thank you for starting your road trip with us. As down the stretch we come, our leaders are about heading up the parkway. There you see a great shot. Their backs to City Hall and headed back towards our position here at Eakins Oval. They will cross the start-finish line and have 2 more laps to go, 6 miles to go. So probably about 12 more minutes of racing time, thereabouts. And right now, guys, it's so interesting because the leaders and the Peloton get a great look at one another as they pass each other on the Ben Franklin Parkway. They can really size each other up and say, all right, it's all coming down to this.
And one correction to myself, the United Healthcare, they got a great sprinter in this German, Robert Forster. That's got to be their man for the sprint. So it's all heating up. The sprinters' teams are maneuvering their captains into position. Our breakaway crossing the finish line 2 more times around the Lemon Hill circuit. They're still holding on. but the field is threatening. But you know what? It's not over. These guys do have a chance to hold on to this race.
They certainly do, and you can see Diaz coming up off the front, Mancebo getting back on the front. These guys are not empty. They have not really slowed down. It's just a question of how motivated the field is, and can they get the right dynamic at the front, the pointy end of the field, to chase down the breakaway. The break is not slowing any.
All right, here comes the peloton crossing the start-finish line now for the
40 seconds.
How about
40
that?
seconds, 6 miles. Oh, Todd.
We're right there, right?
And now that you know who's in the front there as well is the Jamis Sutter home team with the Barajo brothers. The Liquigas team is in front. The HTC team is in front. There's Liquigas. Look at them. The United Healthcare is in front. So all the sprinters teams are now massing. They're joining efforts in a way to try to close down this breakaway and set up their stars.
And let's talk a little bit about that Jamis Sutter home squad with Alejandro and Anibal Barajo. Alejandro was 4th here last year. He knows the score. He knows how to be right there. He wants to win this race. He's a fast guy. He's got a lot of international experience racing many years over in Europe. He's now focused on the U.S. and the Americas with his team.
The peloton has just passed in front of the famous steps of the Art Museum here in Philadelphia as they head back out now towards Lemon Hill. About 5 miles to go in the championship, and these guys are pounding on the pedals at this point.
And what's going to happen now is the race will accelerate and accelerate and accelerate as the big sprinters teams try to increase the speed, keep their sprinters in position, and line up the peloton in a high-speed manner so that their sprinters are launched at high speed. So now it accelerates all the way to the line. Todd, as beautiful a ride as Mancebo has done, as Diaz has done, as Langlois has done, unless they can really pull something special out of the bag, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on because this field is raging.
Todd, you were shaking your head because you were a man that ran out in front of the pack. You were a breakaway guy, so when that peloton catches up, it kind of hits you deep, huh?
It does. I feel it. It's really close to home because I was not a guy who had a field sprint in me. I was a breakaway guy. 33 seconds now. It continues to come down, but look at the break. These guys know once they get caught, they're not going to have that sharpness to be in the field sprint. So it's all right now. Everything you have, try and hold on for dear life. And if you make it around the final corner in front of the field, then you can start racing against each other.
And the other thing, too, is they've been out in front a long time.
A long time.
A long time, and the legs just aren't working the way they were an hour ago when they were flying. Mancebo,
certainly
unbelievable
not 5 hours ago.
Certainly not 5 hours ago. And Mancebo flying, Diaz flying, Langlois heroic. But despite all of that effort, and this is the cruelty of cycling, we talked about the strongest rider winning, but the most efficient rider. The most efficient rider in this case will be one of the sprinters who hasn't put his nose in the wind, as we say, the entire day. These are the strongest riders, the riders with the biggest hearts, the ones who put the most out there. And of these groups, when they're caught, and they very well may be caught, they'll finish last. And that's the cruelty and the beauty of bicycle racing.
And the gap is continuing to shrink as you take a look at our leaders and the guys chasing them not all that far behind.
And look at the speed of that peloton. Look at them all strung out in a line. They're smelling the finish line. They're smelling that they are 4 miles away from a victory in the race with only those 3 men dangling out in front between them and a possible victory.
And the big difference here between the peloton and the break is the break has 2 guys, and they're each in the win 50% of the time. The field has a bunch of guys, and one guy takes a really hard pull, and then he goes and sits in for 5 minutes, and then he can get recovered. The breakaway does not have that time for recovery.
If you're in the breakaway, at what point do you start just racing for yourself, or can you not afford to do that at this point?
You can't.
And this one, too close to the line. They're desperately just trying to get to the finish line and then have some sort of sprint among exhausted men, a slow-motion sprint, if you will. It can't be a sharp one because they don't have much left in their legs. But this field, everybody in this chasing field, all these riders you see at the front behind on the screen now, they have sprinters that they believe in, oh no, it's over. It's not going to happen. They're going to get caught. Sad, cruel, unjust, whatever you want to call it, that's bicycle racing.
Here comes the
Mancebo,
chase. Yep.
Great race, great ride. We love you. It's not going to make it. Because here comes Liquigas.
Unofficially 17 seconds now. 17 seconds behind is that chase group with about 3.5 miles to go. Probably not enough time, and that group is probably going to get caught probably somewhere as they head back past the Art Museum for that final 2 miles.
I'm with you. Ponzi on the front for the Liquigas Cannondale squad with a huge amount of kilometers in his legs from Europe, just having competed in the Giro d'Italia, 21 days of racing. And he just has to take one hard pull because he wants his sprinter up there. That's the thing. He gets the rest. The breakaway doesn't.
And those Liquigas boys, they know how to set up a sprinter. They're one of the most expert teams in the entire world of cycling. Italian trained and honed. They know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. But this has been a great race.
It sure
fantastic. And you know what? It's only getting better because there's nothing the matter with a sprint. A sprint is great across the road, headbutts, elbows. It's
it gets physical down there.
Oh, it gets so physical. Yeah, it's the last 2 minutes of a basketball game. No rules.
Hey, you know, the Parkway's only so wide, and when you have 180 of the best cyclists in the world competing for one of the most prestigious championships, all bets are off as they come down to the finish line. Our leaders are approaching the start-finish line for the final time. They'll have one lap remaining, 1 3-mile lap remaining as they approach the start-finish line.
How cruel. They've gotten so close, but look right there, the field bearing down on them. The Pro Tour teams have timed this to perfection. They left them out there. They marshaled their forces. High Road came in with only 5 riders. The Liquigas Cannondale team came in with only 6 riders. And they managed the race to their very best, using their forces as best they could against the teams with 8 riders. And now they are absolutely in the driver's seat in the front, starting to nail it up.
11 seconds.
Here comes your big High Road rider. Number 3, that is Pat Grench, the big German, and now they're really lighting it up. Look at the speed that they're hitting it now. They're going up to 50 kilometers an hour on the uphill, 60 on the downhill, and it'll be faster from there all the way to the finish line.
Gretsch is a really talented 24-year-old German who actually lives in Switzerland, a phenomenal talent, a time-trialing machine, and he's just got the big engine up to speed right now.
You can see the speed from this distance. Look at them. This is after 156 miles. A big field, one of the biggest groups you've had at the finish in years. We must have 60, 70 riders in that field, Todd. That's a lot of riders. This is going to be some sprint to call, I can tell you that.
About 2.5 miles to go in this race. The difference was 11 seconds when they crossed the start-finish line for the final time. Now, you can't quite see the group behind them yet. These are our leaders, but with about 2.5 miles to go, that chase group is awful close, and both of my partners here in the booth are pretty sure they're going to get caught.
Yeah, it's a painful thing to watch, but that field just whips it up, and look at how close they are right now. The breakaway refusing to say, we throw in the towel. We're going every single pedal stroke of the way.
You know what they're doing? They're timing it. They're timing it to catch them just at the right moment. They want to catch them just on Lemon Hill so that there's some confusion in the field when they get past.
Look at that.
This is what's happening. Look at them slowing down a bit. And then, they've given up the breakaway. Look at that. Congratulations.
Well, there you go.
Done.
5 hours and 54 minutes, but they caught them.
No, well done. Well done, boys. That's the camaraderie. And now coming into Lemon Hill, just before the hill, they catch them and all lined up in the front.
That's New Zealand, all black, pure black racing. So very interesting to see them taking this thing by the scruff of the neck. And can they pull up a massive upset here? HTC High Road in the white jersey, sitting about 4 wheels back. But there's a lot still happening.
Eustice was there. Eustice, the big Slovenian from the Type 1 team, was sitting there in the front in excellent position. A lot of sprinters in this race. All the teams brought their sprinters, and now we see why. It's really a sprinter's race.
Up Lemon Hill for the final time, then back down the other side, and then it will be a sprint to the finish. Past Deacon's Oval, around Logan Square, and across the start-finish line. One final time. Guys, here they come, and boy, it is anybody's race here in the 27th Philadelphia International Cycling Championship.
Right now, it comes down to what team still got horsepower in the last 3 miles of this bicycle race. Is it HTC? Is it the Pure Black? What about our Liquigas team? Do they have it in there? Look at the Pure Blacks go. What a great ride by these boys from New Zealand.
I think it's a little bit early for Pure Black. They got 3 guys on the front, and I have a feeling they're going to run out of gas a little bit, be tapping that gas gauge in just a moment. Now they only have 2, and the other guys lurking behind are going to swarm them.
All right, here they come back down the Ben Franklin Parkway, led by Philadelphia's finest. They'll pass by us one more time on our right, and then around Logan Square and back to the finish line. It all comes down to this, and you look at it, you can see it right there. The lead group is packed with people that can win this race. It's going to come down to that final sprint.
A lot of sprinters involved in this bicycle race on the downhill coming into the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. They come ripping down into this race at over 60 kilometers an hour, and it accelerates from there all the way to the finish line.
The Philadelphia crowd are lined up against the fences here to watch what should be a spectacular finish. It really is any racer's game at this point, as here they come back down the parkway one final time.
The field split in half the last time up Lemon Hill. There's a split in the field now in the front. That's why the Pure Black are driving. In the front, it is. Oh, the big boys. Menzies is in there. The United Healthcare boys are in the front. They want to win this. Forster in excellent position. Four of the United Healthcare boys are there. I did criticize Mike Tomeo for his aggression. Wondered if he was doing the right thing. But you got to say, it looks like he was so far. Good for him.
Well, they have a lot of sprinters on that team, John. You look at it, Hilton Clark, Robert Forster, Jake Keogh, Carl Menzies, and Boy Von Poppel. That's a lot of depth for a sprint. They'll pick the best guy, and they'll try and shepherd him to the line.
And they're taking the lead out. They're grabbing this race by the scruff of the neck and taking the lead out. What a courageous way to ride this race. They're not afraid, this American team of HTC.
And look at that. There's Spider Tech on the right side of your screen. That's Steve Bauer's team. They have Kevin Lacombe. He's a real hitter as well.
All right, around Logan Circle right now. There you see it, Logan Square.
Oh, and we have a crash.
Oh, crash in the sprint. But back to the finish. Back to the race in front. We got to see the race in front.
Still United Healthcare on the front.
Big split in the field. Coming up from behind are the riders from Liquid Gas and the other teams. But now they're coming around for the final time. And now the sprint is launched. HTC is launching the sprint. HTC launching the sprint in front.
Spider Tech. It's Spider Tech on the front.
And we have our commissar in the way. Here's Spider Tech launching the sprint.
Here they come.
And here comes United Healthcare. Forster on the wheel. And then they're launched. The sprint is launched flat out. Across the road they go. And here comes Forster. Forster has launched the sprint. But behind him comes Ilesic. It's Ilesic. It's Forster. It is absolutely
HTC.
Number 555. It is Rasmussen from HTC wins. All the word was on Lee Howard, and it is Rasmussen. Rasmussen, the man who got second in the final time trial of the Tour of Italy, the man who started the Tour of Italy 20 pounds overweight, lost 20 pounds during the Tour of Italy. According to Alan Piper, he was quote-unquote fat as a whale. He came out.
He's not fat now.
He's not fat now. And Rasmussen, the wonderful track racer.
Yeah, let's look at him. 4-time world champion on the track. He was designated to be Lee Howard's final leadout man, but after 6 hours, he ended up being the designated hitter, and he got the job done.
Officially 5 hours, 59 minutes, and 4 seconds for Alex Rasmussen to cross the finish line. And there you see that is part of the crash that we saw right before the finish line. He's in bad shape right there, number 145. Up and walking, though, that's a good sign. But there is the man of the hour, Alex Rasmussen. He wins it, the 2011 TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships.
HTC pulls it out at the last minute with a decoy. Everyone watching Lee Howard, and Rasmussen comes through and takes the day.
Third year in a row for HTC High Road across the finish line first here in Philadelphia. Alex Rasmussen is your champion in 2011. Hopefully the men involved in that crash are okay. We saw most of them up and walking around. But let's take one more look, John Eustice. Here's how it was at the finish line. It was too close to call. Are you kidding me?
Good sprint.
5 hours.
Forster, who's that coming up for second? That's Sagan coming for second again.
And it looks like Forster in third.
Forster, Rasmussen, Sagan, and Forster. Sagan twice second. Rasmussen beats him. Same team lineup for the first two as last year. Different players. Forster comes into third. Ken Hansen and Jelly Belly, great ride. And look, Koshan
Jeep Type 1, comes in 5th place. Excellent ride by him.
And guys, when it was all said and done, after 5 hours and 59 minutes of racing, there are the teams, HTC, Liquid Gas, and Team United Healthcare, teams that we talked about right when we came on the air as being the strongest teams. We didn't talk a whole lot about HTC this entire race, but it just goes to show you, it's how you finish, and they finish strong.
Hey, you know what, as well, the American teams did. Look at the sprint. Great. Look at the power of Rasmussen. Look at that in the saddle. Wow, what a sprint.
He's a big man, and remember, when he got second in that final time trial in Italy a week ago, he was on a flat tire.
It's unbelievable.
So the guy has a massive engine, and he's got a good sprint to go with it.
Alex Rasmussen is our champion. Don't go anywhere. We're back to wrap it all up here from Philadelphia. For the 27th time, we have final results in the Philadelphia International Cycling Championships presented by TD Bank here in Philadelphia. Alex Rasmussen is your champion from HTC High Road this year. Peter Sagan comes in second. Robert Forrester is in third. Gentlemen, these are names that we talked about early, some of them, but in the end, it just came down to what was one heck of a final sprint.
Whew, that had drama, that had blood, that had everything.
It did.
We talked about how rough they get back there, and you saw with that big crash the result of that. That's not a game you take lightly, being a field sprinter. You're risking your life every time you do it.
It seems like at Philly here, probably 70% of the time in that final oval, there's a crash because the guys are really pushing each other. They want to be in position. Let's face it, the stakes are high. If you cross that line first, it's a mighty big win.
Take a look at the finish here. Coming up, and they come. Here's the sprint, and look at this. Look at how he pops out of there. The lead out coming. There's Forrester. He went a little too early, Forrester. A little too early, and there comes Rasmussen. He's on the wheel of Ilesic, and then Rasmussen really starts in the saddle. He goes, look at him throw his hips, and bang! Powerful in the saddle sprint by the great Danish track rider, Todd. There's another one. You take it. Look at that, Todd.
Just fantastic. Number 5-1 there as he pops right up through the middle on his right. Peter Sagan, again, second, as you mentioned. And you know what? There's no worse place than second.
Well, I don't know. I think the guys down at the Oval look like they might be in a worse spot than second. But wow, what a race it was. More coverage coming up. 156 miles in the books, and we have a champion. We're coming right back here on Comcast Sportsnet. Well, after weeks of planning and some of the best athletes in the world racing on the streets of Philadelphia, we have crowned a champion once again. 27 races in the book for the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championship. There was some drama near the end as the men approached the final, the finish line. We had some problems. Take us through it on Logan Square.
Well, a little tough to see on the overhead there from the helicopter, but guys just fighting for position. And when you're that close together and you're going 33, 34 miles an hour, you're right on the hair edge already. And when guys start falling down in front of you, there's nowhere to go. Here's another look from the motorcycle, and you will see up in front here a little bit, all of a sudden, bodies and bikes will just go flying through the air.
This is a scary scene. Now, let's remember, these guys are going upwards of 30, 35 miles per hour. And
and that's
sudden
painful
stops.
to watch.
Yeah, it really is. We hope that everybody is okay. Here's what happened in front. It doesn't get any closer than this, Todd.
Can you imagine?
That is our winner, Alex Rasmussen.
6 hours. And what is the difference between them? About a foot and a half.
It is unbelievable. Alex Rasmussen is our champion. John Eustice is down with our champion right now. John, take it away.
Here I am with the winner of the 27th Annual Philadelphia Championship, Alex Rasmussen of Denmark, the HTC High Road team. Alex, wonderful victory. That breakaway with Mancebo in front, did that give you a lot of worries during the race?
I think every breakaway gave me a lot of worries. This is it's a real American race where you can't really control it, and we only had 5 guys, so we couldn't control it. So it was very hard all day to actually keep things under control, and we were lucky that it came down to a sprint.
Yeah, and how important was your team throughout this day for you? Were you worried about, you didn't have that many riders. You only had 5 riders. Were you able to control it all, or were you just really hoping and praying for things to come together?
Yeah, we were hoping and praying for things to come together because we didn't have enough to work, and we had to work together with some of the other teams, including Liquid Gas and United Healthcare, and luckily they were working as well. So thankfully, a lot of teams had sprinters, and they were all hoping for a sprint.
Common interest. Listen, that sprint seemed pretty crazy. Big crashes, lots of elbows and headbutts, and you came flying up through the center. Walk us through the sprint a little bit. How did it work out?
Yeah, I was on the inside in the roundabout, and Lee Howard was supposed to be on my wheel, but he wasn't there. So then I was just looking out for myself in the end, and I was a little too far back with 500 meters to go. I was like in 14th position, so I had to do really, really long and go in and get some draft of the other guys, and then I was flying with like 70 past the other guys. But it was a long sprint for me.
A long sprint. I think I saw with all that maneuvering, all of your track racing experience came in handy, didn't it?
Yeah, it did definitely. It was. I did a seated sprint because I had so much acid in my legs, so I had to sit down in the end.
Excellent, wonderful victory. How exciting. We'll hope to see you back here next year in Philadelphia. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, John. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, he is our champion, and you know, he talked about a great sprint to the end there, and he said seated sprint. What's that all about, Todd?
He's talking about the fact that his legs felt like they were twice the normal size because they had so much buildup of toxins in them that he couldn't get out of the saddle, so he had to do a seated sprint. But he's a track rider originally, so he's got that very fluid style, and he still had the power when he was seated.
I'll tell you what, it was a terrific sprint to the finish, but John Eustice's sprint down to get Alex, and now he's going to sprint back to the set. That was pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, well, he's a motivated man. You can't miss that interview at the end of the bike race.
That's right. Two-time U.S. champion John Eustice doesn't miss anything. Well, it was a terrific day, and it all got started with the mayor of Philadelphia and his wife, and John Littner of Comcast Sportsnet, and Mike Carbone of TD Bank, and here was the start. 180 of the best cyclists in the world, Todd, taking us off at 9 o'clock this morning. And who knew that it was going to come down to a photo finish as the gun shot off, and then the women, the Liberty Classic, got off underway. We crowned a champion, and she was already a world champion. Now she's a champion in Philadelphia.
Well, you never know how it's going to finish out, but Bronzini there, the Italian champion of the world in Geelong, Australia last year. Did she look happy or what? Fist pump in the air, and then this crash in the final turn. And oh, it just hurts every time I see that. But the four-time world champion from the track, Alex Rasmussen, taking the big win in Philly. He's got to be on top of the world right now.
On top of the world, no doubt about it. Alex Rasmussen of HTC High Road is the 27th champion in this race. He joins names like Lance Armstrong and like Eric Heiden, who we spoke to earlier today, like Matt Goss, champions. And speaking of champions, I already commented on your sprint. Your sprint was almost as impressive. Yeah, you know, folks, he almost was down at City Hall just a minute ago.
I had a lot of lactic acid in my legs. I had to do it sitting, just like Rasmussen.
Todd, give Mr. Eustice a breath here and take us through final thoughts on what was really a tremendous race today.
I honestly think that exactly what Rasmussen said was so critical. Those guys, they rolled the dice. They had 5 riders for HTC High Road. They said, this is a big field, there's a lot of horsepower. We cannot control it by ourselves, so we're going to try and remain anonymous and hope that the other teams fight it out and pull back the breakaway late and give us a shot, and it worked out awesome for them.
For the 3rd straight year, HTC is our champion-winning team. Alex Rasmussen, last year it was Matt Goss, this year it's Rasmussen. They are a powerful team. We knew that coming in, and they showed why today.
Well, you know, one thing I got to tell you, you got to thank the Americans for putting on such a great race. He talked about Rasmussen. He said this is an American race. We can't control it. And that's a sign of the expanding American pro class, their aggression. They were up there all day. They made the race. Kudos to them. There's lots more to come. The American racing class, we got to believe in it because it's the future of this sport.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope we're going to see you again next year when we do it all over again for the 28th running.
I can't believe it's over.
It's hard to believe.
I mean, honestly,
6 hours goes like that.
At the end of the day, it was really a question of whether or not that breakaway was going to get caught.
Yeah.
And finally, they just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, you know what? If this race had been maybe a mile or two shorter, perhaps one of those lead guys would have won this race. But that's why it's 156 miles, so we have drama like that. What an afternoon in Philadelphia as the TD Bank Philadelphia International Cycling Championships has crowned a champion. Alex Rasmussen is that champion. For our producer, Sean Alexiak, our director, Nick Marquetta, and our amazing crew that captured these pictures all day long, up and down the Manayunk Wall, up and down Kelly Drive, from the ground and in the air. What an amazing job they did. Now, for Lisa Hillary, and for Eric Wolberg, and for Todd Gogulski, and John Eustice, I'm Gregg Murphy. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We have two champions today, Georgia Bronzini for the women and Alex Rasmussen for the men. The 27th Philadelphia International Cycling Championships is in the books. Enjoy your day, everybody.